don't know what will make y'all think it's okay to leave your keys under your welcome mat. That is an invitation for death. I just watched a video where a man or a woman or whatever it was, holding a knife, was searching under people's welcome mats, trying to get into people's door. You don't believe me, right? This is all on Ring camera footage. Nah, man. Stop being so trusting.
Что, такое с мяса?
Что, это похоже на дробь?
Нет, это какой-то железный. Откуда?
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scary from creepiest videos on the net, on the web, that's gonna make us question everything. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Stay with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
Interesting things today. This graph shows what's called graduation inflation, where you see the dark blue line is the high school graduation rate going up dramatically since the year 2010. But the light blue line is the average SAT score going down at the same time. 1 in 1,000 men over the age of 35 have a visible six-pack. 5 in 100 men in between 30 and 40 are millionaires. So the odds of you either being a man or dating a man that is a millionaire with a six-pack in his 30s is 1 in 20,000. Better odds than the lottery. There was a restaurant owner in Kentucky who intentionally flooded his own restaurant with clean water to protect it from an incoming river flood. That's smart and quick thinking.
How is there a shadow here when nothing is in the sky?
You guys see that shadow?
It shouldn't be there.
Where? Where?
This might actually
Where?
prove
Where
we
are
have
the
cloaking
clouds?
technology.
Where are the clouds?
The only way this makes sense is if we have cloaking technology. Like, there is an aircraft in the sky that has been cloaked, like, it's invisible pretty much. But what do I know? Stay weird.
I'm sure it's just a coincidence, but King Solomon used these sigils to be able to trap demons and use them to build his temple. I know it sounds crazy, but it's real. And, or they believe this. And for some reason, computer circuit boards also follow those same patterns that almost look exactly like these sigils. And maybe I'm connecting too many dots, but I think that's weird, because El means God, at least in the old translations. El meaning spirit or God, electricity. I don't know. Maybe I'm kooky. This is my driver. Has anyone else noticed that? I broke my Game Boy once and I could never unsee the circuit board, you know? It was so upsetting. Here we go.
Never knew that L in the old Hebrew language stands for God. Circuitry boards. And he said Solomon using to trap demons. It's all clipped like that similar before, man, but another one just confirming it. Shapeshifter?
Boy, that motherfucker just shapeshifted right in front of our face, man. Y'all let me know if this really cat, but I'm putting no grave. Shit is crazy. Что, такое с мяса?
That's definitely a chip.
Что, это похоже на дробь?
Нет, это какой-то железный. Откуда?
Why can't he take it out? What are we putting in our bodies, man?
Что это железный?
Чип, может?
Угу. Чип, да.
Чип?
Прикинь?
Ага.
Прикинь, чип. Это что за... Это
They're
интересно.
trying to track us.
Что такое? Что за корова? Корова? Что, мясо?
A lot of the us are going to die in August? August 12th, 2026, the world will lose gravity for 7 seconds.
Who said that?
NASA. They're preparing and they won't tell us why. Leaked online, the project's budget is $89 billion.
Shoot.
And its goal is to survive a 7-second gravitational anomaly expected August 12th, 2026. And expected casualties will be 40 to 60 million people.
What?
They go on 1 to 2 seconds. Everything not secured will rise. People, vehicles, animals. 3 to 4 seconds in. Objects will continue to rise to 15 to 20 meters up. 5 to 6 seconds in. Panic and chaos will ensue. People hit ceilings. 7 seconds. Gravity returns. And everything falls from the sky. And 40 to 60 million people are dead.
Imagine you're pooping and then it goes back up. Dude, what a cleanup.
This is Erica Kirk. Another Erica Kirk. Same exact name, same exact spelling, both political wives, both married to outspoken Republicans. Current Erica is nicknamed Miss Arizona, and the first Erica was nicknamed Madam X. People called the first Erica Kirk Madam X because they say she just kind of showed up out of nowhere. Both have striking blue eyes and blonde hair. They even do their eyeliner the same, and personally, I think they have the same face structure. The first Erica Kirk passed away now, but was from Palm Beach County, Florida, which raises another huge red flag. If you've been following my videos, you know why. I don't want to tell you guys what to think. I'm simply giving you the information. Do you think these are like all coincidences, or is there something else going on here?
Oh, it's so cold outside that trees in certain areas are exploding. Literally exploding just like this.
Damn.
Shit sound like a bomb. Imagine you walking and you just hear boom. What you doing? I know I'm balling, fool. Nigga, I'm running like you saying boo.
Yep.
But for the ones that don't believe me, look at this video, y'all. Listen.
You hear it. Whoa.
Fool, I know y'all heard that shit. Ain't seen it. I'm today's old. This is my first time ever hearing about a tree exploding from the cold, let alone seeing the shit.
Our first two.
I need y'all to let me know down below in the comments and be truthful. Is this y'all first time hearing about this or seeing some shit like this? Because it is for me. I don't know where that video was, but I can only think of it like those trees must not be accustomed to that type of coldness. That's all I can think about. Because if it's trees that's usually in a cold, ain't no way they're gonna explode, right? Y'all let me know y'all thoughts down below in the comments. And if you want to stay updated on all news, any news, make sure you hit that follow button.
Hold. Bro, have you guys ever seen, I guess now today, bro, have you guys ever seen a tree freaking explode because it was too cold? That was my first time seeing that, man. I think it's because of the storm. I guess it's because of the polar vortex storm that's coming. I guess the trees, man, they're not used to that type of coldness, man. They just boom, bro. It's actually insane, man. Trees exploding because it's too cold. Bro, what else is 2026 got in store for us?
The grate off the vent, and his baby brother crawled straight in. He dropped 8 feet down the hole before getting stuck at the bottom. Now, their mom was in the other room and had no idea what happened until the toddler came in yelling, "Baby in." He showed her the open vent, and she realized her baby was inside. Rescuers tried to reach him, but he was in too deep, so an officer crawled under the house, pushing the baby up the shaft and back into his mother's arms. And after that, she screwed the grate shut.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Russia has received the biggest snowstorm it's ever gotten in over 124 years. Now, I live in Canada. I've been seeing a lot of snow, but nothing like this. It's really making me wonder what is going on. Is all of this natural, just God's plan, or is something much deeper and much more sinister going on here? You guys know I've been exposing the fake snow here in Canada. When you try to burn it, it just burns black. It doesn't melt. It smells like plastic. So I really think that Canada's doing the same thing as maybe Russia, but I'm not 100% sure. If anyone is in Russia and wants to try this, let me know. My intuition's really just telling me that none of this is natural, that something else is going on here. Weather manipulation, possibly from other countries, because they can do that. We are always at war with these specific countries because they don't have Rothschild central banks and all this stuff. So maybe, just maybe, this is what's happening. And it's leaving no fingerprints attached. That's the whole plan. Look up HAARP, look up geoengineering, look up chemtrails, all this stuff. That's what's causing these weather events. I'm not 100% sure. This is just a hypothesis. I'm just a crazy conspiracy theorist once again, guys. But let me know what you think about this storm that's happening in Russia right now in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, and follow for more hidden truth. Peace and love.
China just put doctors inside vending machines, and they're diagnosing patients in 4 minutes with 95% accuracy. They've deployed 2,200 AI-powered health kiosks across the country, including 250 inside Shanghai's metro system alone. You walk in, describe your symptoms, and the machine scans your vitals while an AI trained on 300 million medical consultations analyzes what's wrong with you. Before anything gets prescribed, a licensed doctor reviews everything remotely, so there's still a human in the loop, but the AI does the heavy lifting, covering over 2,000 diseases and cutting wait times by 70%. The results so far are insane. 15,000 people use the Shanghai kiosks every month. Healthcare costs dropped 30%, and the diagnostic accuracy is holding steady at 95%, which is on par with human doctors for common conditions. This isn't a pilot program, it's fully operational at scale, and multiple countries are already trying to copy it. While most of the world is still debating whether AI should be allowed in healthcare, China built 2,200 of these things and put them in subway stations. Do you think AI doctors will come to your country, or will regulations keep them out? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed stories like this, follow my page for more.
Shoot, the way they pushing AI, I won't be surprised, man. Like they're gonna replace the actual human doctors, bro. Everybody just keep freaking pumping money into AI, man. I heard, I don't know, there's like 100 billion in AI, probably more than that, bro. Any excess money is going straight to AI, man. So, bro, you gotta be careful with that, man. Trying to take the doctors' places now.
Research shows that the human Y chromosome, which essentially makes men, is slowly disappearing. And scientists are now divided on what this could mean for the future of the male species. See, when you look at the DNA structure in men and women, females have 2 X chromosomes, while males have an X and a Y. But research has shown, and excuse the pun, the human male's Y chromosome seems to be battling with the old pesky shrinkage. Some experts suggest that the Y chromosome will completely leave our DNA in roughly 5 million years. Now, due to the lack of men in the world, there would be major fertility problems leading to human extinction. But at the same time, not the worst era to be around as a man, though. However, other researchers believe that this isn't going to be a problem at all, stating that we would just simply move over to another chromosome to produce males as other species have done. But the question is, whose Y chromosome has started this process 5 million years too early?
I know what's going on in Cleveland, Ohio right now. Mothers, fathers, do you care to know? There's been 30 missing children within just 2 weeks. 30 missing children. How is it that Ohio has 11.75 million people and no one knows what's going on in Cleveland, Ohio with our children? It's not getting national news. It's not getting any coverage whatsoever. No one's covering anything on this matter except me. I know exactly what's going on with our children. I need you to listen and pay attention. If you're operating at a low vibrational frequency, you're not going to understand what I'm saying. What I'm about to show you is profound. It's going to be unbelievable, but it's the reason why these beings are in my background. Pay attention. I'm about to show you.
There's something dark and dangerous happening in Cleveland, Ohio. Nearly 30 children have been reported missing in the area over a 2-week span in May. That's right, about 30 kids vanishing over a 2-week span last month. It's frightening. Between May 2nd and May 16th, 27 people under the age of 18 reported missing, according to Cleveland police. And one local police chief hasn't seen anything like it before.
There's peaks and valleys when it comes to missing persons, but this year just seems to be like an extraordinary year. In my 33 years in law enforcement, this just seems like an unusually high number.
Law enforcement isn't sure if these kids were trafficked, involved in gang activity, caught up in drugs. Doesn't help it Cleveland is one of the highest crime rates in the nation. The other problem is a lack of photos of many of these missing kids. If you look through Cleveland's missing persons page, you'll see many
What color are they?
blurbs that say photo not available. These missing children's cases do not make the news unless they're Amber Alert.
Now I'm about to show y'all why this is happening. Pay attention.
Our children are being abducted and sacrificed to feed the
This is true.
race.
This is what's happening. I know it sounds unbelievable, but this is why this is taking place with our children. We must protect our children, stand by our children, love our children. But this is why Satan was the only angel that fell from heaven. It was a third that fell with him. I love y'all. Protect our children.
Thing, man, fixing a reptilian race. That's why those were the missing people, missing children, missing kids be going. Sacrifice? Dark rabbit hole, man.
What's that? What's that? I saw something like that when I went back there and walked. Yeah, it's real little. We talking about. I don't know if you seen it dimming it out, but it's the only thing up there that look brighter than everything else.
Right. That's like. I know I'm not tripping. Do y'all see that?
Okay, I see it now. First, I couldn't see it.
That thing is celebrating.
It's Arizona. You see UAP activity out there?
What is it?
Or is that the effects of the phone from zooming in?
What is that? It's in the middle of the daytime. It's bright as hell. That thing gotta be hella bright to be doing that in the middle of the daytime. Yeah.
That's something.
What's that?
I just disappeared.
What's that?
It's like turning on and off. It's trying to cloak itself.
How you doing? I'm waving it. What if it's a sniper? It's like sniping in line.
Hey, get down, man.
They are actually doing it. I know a lot of people are going to be very unhappy with this one. There's been a lot of changes and things that have been being talked about in the UK for a long time now. We had the Online Safety Act, of course, that countered kids seeing certain things, but of course everyone just used VPNs and kind of got around it. Last year, there was a huge amount of talk about putting in screen time limits on kids' phones. While that was going on, though, Australia passed a bill which literally banned under 16s from using social media in its entirety. And that got the UK thinking, well, why don't we do that here? Now, people were very, very skeptical. They're thinking, there's no way that's going to come in the UK. No one's going to approve that. Well, it looks like they have. It looks like they have. It is now pretty much in its final stages in the Houses of Parliament to allow social media to be banned for anybody under the age of 16, meaning you won't be able to access Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, any of the social media platforms until you're over that age. Half the people are concerned about security risks and saying this is just not right and this shouldn't be happening, but of course it has a lot of backing from the government that this is literally going to happen, and there is a lot of parents and people who are in favour of this happening. So it looks like it is going to happen, and I know that every single child who's under 16 years old who has been using social media that's not going to be allowed suddenly is going to be fuming. But let me know if you think this is a good idea or a bad one, and I'll keep you updated.
Australia, thinking UK, who's next, man? Banning social media for kids under 16, bro. That does actually sound bad, man. Or we need to, monitor, bro. Social media nowadays, and man, it's crazy. You have to add some way of time to monitoring it for the kids.
What will make y'all think it's okay to leave your keys under your welcome mat? That is an invitation for death. I just watched a video where a man or a woman or whatever it was, holding a knife, was searching under people's welcome mats, trying to get into people's door. You don't believe me, right? Look at this shit. Tell me this shit is right here. Pay attention to everything that goes on.
Okay.
And then tell me what it looks like. This is all on Ring camera footage.
Oh yeah, she definitely got some of them.
Nah, man.
A knife in her mouth, yo.
Stop being so trusting.
Oh hell no.
Knife in mouth, butt ass naked. Nah, man. Now just imagine you're home, your kids, your family, resting, and you see somebody like that come in your room. Knife in mouth, butt ass naked with a sheet wrapped around you, looking like some shit from another planet. Mind you, if you look at that video, you see that whatever it was, tried both door handles and then went up the stairs. Apparently, he or she or whatever it was didn't even live there. Y'all gotta stop being so trusting. There are people walking around with real mental health issues. Really crazy. And like I said, that lady or man or whatever it was didn't even look like it was from this planet. Pay attention.
Okay, I thought everybody got a wood stove because everyone's buildings, like, look at this. Starbucks. I hope no one goes to that. Like, I've never been to Starbucks. You should never go to Starbucks. The first thing, the girl on the front of it is literally Medusa. It's a satanic imaging, and it's got all this funky dunky ingredients. But my point is that, sorry guys, it's a bit bumpy, the freaking road. It's like we're in Yakutia right now, man. I'm talking bumpy roads. Oh, look at this smokestack. You think someone's polluting? That's just the exhaust. It's minus freaking 20, man. It's minus 27. It's minus, the wind chill is minus 37. In Swiss Chalet, I used to work there. I worked at Swiss Chalet, and I got demoted from server to kitchen. So I can send you guys videos. If I was still working there, see, here's the thing. I could have cried about being demoted. Instead, I became who I am now. If I was demoted, if I wasn't demoted, I might be still a server there right now. Which is fine. It could be a toxic cow, like that guy. Dude, it is freaking bumpy. I can't maintain the stabilization on this thing. I need a gimbal.
Yeah, hit by the storm.
You know what that is? Anyway, it's freaking cold out, guys. So stay warm, stay safe, and we love you all the way from up north.
You motherfuckers. So you telling me this whole time they've been mining our shit, and this whole time the Grand Canyon was not made by a river? Ain't that suspicious? That these same lines, bro, they've been mining our asses, bro, cutting down what? Oh, hell no. This shit is no coincidence. Ain't it crazy that the Milky Way is right on top of this shit, y'all? Like, seriously, bro. They are playing in our fucking faces. Why the fuck y'all wanna disconnect us so bad, though? It's the real question. Is it cause it's something going on in our faces? What do y'all mean, ancient civilizations, bro? Y'all talking about AI? Who built them big ass machines, bro, to mine that concrete, bro? You don't see those big ass machines, bro. Let's get realistic here. You motherfuckers. They been here, bro. Who are they?
Shit. Look at this. Look at the eyes.
Oh, you know.
Look at that. Now ask yourself this. Oh, shit, hold on. Isn't that ice? Hold on. Oh, hold on. Could that would be what's going on in Antarctica, in the Caribbean, y'all? Cause look at this. What? Look at the ice. Now look at Venezuela. Look at this, y'all. Hold on. Do y'all know that Venezuela originally means Little Venice? They gave it the name Little Venice. Like, break down that word Venice. Ven ice. Ven ice. Oh. Little Ven ice. So big Ven ice over here, right? And then little Ven ice. Are they trying to tell us something? Because again, the process of brumation.
Extreme cold, alligators enter brumation. They freeze in place with their heads above the ice so they can breathe. Watch this. Blink. They're alive.
See, I truly believe that this is the same thing that's going on over here, that they're using high-level technology to freeze this in place. Because why would you name Venezuela, right? Little Venice, Little Ven Ice. And you got all this ice over here, and then reptilian heads around this. This is crazy, y'all. But let me know what you guys think about this video. The ship is here. Let's get it.
Stories about Disneyland, except this one there's actual proof. One time a guy went to Disneyland and was waiting to ride the roller coaster on Space Mountain. He was standing in line when a guy with red hair came up to him and started talking to him. He seemed nice, but he was a little bit odd. But the thing is, when the ride was over, this red-haired man literally vanished into thin air. The guest reported this incident and was told that he was alone the entire time. This guest might have just encountered a ghost people know as Mr. One Way. Rumor has it that he's the ghost of a man who passed away while on the ride in the 1970s. He always vanishes right before the ride is over, and he likes to talk to people who are riding the roller coaster alone. People have also reported seeing him in the cast member locker rooms. Follow if you want a part 2 because there's so many ghost stories about Disneyland.
This father who murdered his 2 teenage daughters because he started dating finally had his first interview in prison and denied everything and said it was all a conspiracy. I went over this case and his recent interview on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. On New Year's in 2008, 18-year-old Sarah Saeed used her last breath to call police and let them know that her dad had just shot her and she was dying. Beside her was her deceased older sister Amina, who was also shot by their father. But this didn't just happen out of nowhere. Growing up, these 2 girls endured a lot of abuse from their father. When they were 7 and 8 years old, they told their mother that their father was essaying them. But eventually nothing happened and the case got dropped. Things only got worse as they got older. Their father became more controlling and perverted. Their father would follow them and take videos of them everywhere they went, especially when they went to work. At one point, he took Amina to Egypt to try to marry her off to an older man, but luckily that didn't go through. But one day, he lost it when he found out that his daughters were dating and he threatened to take their lives. At this point, the girls were fed up, terrified, and decided to run away with their mother. But taking their mother with them wasn't the best decision because eventually Patricia wanted to go back to Yasser. She then promised Amina and Sarah that nothing would happen if they returned home, but that wasn't the case. The girls were convinced that their father was going to eventually take their lives, so they left a lot of evidence, including emails and letters to teachers about what was going on at home. When they went home, their father offered to take them out to talk and resolve things, but on January 1st, 2008, he shot them multiple times while they sat in the back of his taxi. Yasser fled for 12 years, but now that he's been in prison for 4 years, he still denies taking his daughter's lives. Throughout this recent interview, he gets frustrated and blames the FBI for pinning the murders on him and says that all the evidence against him isn't true.
Toys that saved lives, part 1. Back in 2016, when a group of kids were outside having a water gun fight, they realized that one of the apartments in their complex caught on fire. So the kids immediately sprung into action and started spraying the flames with their water guns. By the time the fire department arrived, there was no longer a fire. Next, in 2017, when a man got into a nasty argument at home, a young woman pulled out a knife on the man. Well, he grabbed the closest object near him, which was a toy lightsaber. He then somehow was able to fend off several knife attacks thanks to the toy lightsaber. Finally, from a story in 2020, a young girl was playing with a toy car outside when a wild raccoon came out of nowhere and lunged at the girl. Well, the girl then threw her toy car directly at the raccoon, distracting the raccoon long enough so she can run inside safely.
I think the one that got to me is, man, the man who freaking took the lightsaber and turned to a whole freaking Jedi demon, bro. Like, fitted off 7 knives attacks, man, with the freaking lightsaber. Must have been practicing that, bro, when he was a kid. It came in handy. That's an edit. She threw that. Definitely.
Real Disney ghost stories sent in by you guys, part 1. These Disneyland cast members wish to remain anonymous, but here are some stories about the little girl who haunts California Adventure. When I worked in Disney California Adventure, we would sometimes see a little girl and she would show up in the bakery tour alone. And usually by the time we figured out she was alone, she's gone. We asked another cast in the bakery and they said she comes by every now and then and wanders all the way to Little Mermaid. Before Disney California Adventure was built, it was a parking lot and she was hit by a tram, and since then her ghost has haunted the area. It's funny because there's a pattern here. Another cast member wrote to me about this little girl as well in Disney California Adventure. First of all, he says that every land has some sort of ghost. Like every little land in Disneyland has something that haunts it, which is crazy. The ghost I experienced the most and will stay with me is the little girl in the Little Mermaid building. She also likes to walk around on the Grizzly Peak side. She even pulled my keys out of my pocket because I wouldn't respond to her while I was cleaning a restroom, and she was pounding a stall door. What? That is so scary. Here's another ghost story about the same girl. Apparently her name is Jennifer. I work at the restaurant on Buena Vista Street in California Adventure. Jennifer is very well known by cast members. She likes to lock the women's restroom doors. She turns candlesticks on the walls upstairs. I've heard a faint scream in the hallway on the second floor. She's pulled my hair a couple times, and she has shown herself to our custodial at 3 a.m. Have you ever had an encounter with this little girl spirit at Disney California Adventure? Let me know in the comments. And keep
an influencer was arrested after flaunting stolen goods to her 300,000 followers on TikTok. 22-year-old Marlena Velez took $500 worth of items to the self-checkout at a Target and scanned them with a fake barcode that listed them at cheaper prices. Police posted surveillance images of Velez online, which led to an anonymous tip to Marlena's socials, where they found her flaunting the items that she'd stolen to her hundreds of thousands of followers. Cops identified and later brought her into custody on charges of petty theft.
43. She has to be one of the most dumbest criminals alive. You're recording yourself 4K doing it and posting it on TikTok for the world to see, and that was an easy lineup for them. When they probably click their social link, they didn't expect it to be that easy, man. People don't have a brain nowadays, bro.
Monkeys have escaped from a biolab research center in South Carolina, and authorities are urging residents to keep their doors and windows securely closed. We really about to have Planet of the Apes. Before it said that their escape was due to human error, with a member of staff failing to lock the doors behind them. And if you were worried, we're about to have Caesar 2.0. Luckily, none of these monkeys have been used in lab testing, and they are too young to carry diseases. Only real problem is that they're freaking hard to catch, because when you chase them, they just scatter. And catching all 43 is gonna take a while.
Planet of the Apes, bro.
Public school system's failing, and this is proof. Why do we forget about Gibbons? Y'all know about gorillas, chimps with a different R rating, and this guy. Gibbons got left behind and left off the grade Ape lunch table. Not this time. I said this for gorillas, but Gibbons are really a whole walking comedy special without even trying. They're famous for the way they get from A to B, and there's actually a term for this. It's called break-eating. It sure does. It also means they have the most out-of-pocket wingspan nature's ever seen. Yo, it's a good thing they're still alive, because finding a fossil that could jump rope its own skeleton, that Jumanji jump would have put us in another pandemic. There's about 20 strains of this arms longer than a Prohibition tree goblin seasoning the earth, including the white-cheeked gibbon, which definitely isn't venom. Apparently, out of all the apes, they're the only ones that mate for life. Including us. That's right, the throat scroll. Well, it's basically a built-in megaphone meant to amplify their calls. Why do they call? Well, some have a door, some have a gate, but gibbons not. They mark territory off straight. Basically, they use it to announce the borders of their turf, and you can hear it a mile out. In fact, gibbon couples will sing duets throughout the day, and sometimes they'll even bring the kids to make it a family matter. Also, if you're curious, for these ones, they're all born golden to blend in, but they all turn black when they're 6 months old. The males stay that way, but the females revert back to gold when they're older. So you can go back. They're silly, whimsical, tiger bullying branch merchants with more reach than Go-Go Gadget that could, let's be real, probably rip your arm off if they really wanted to. They may not be grade A's, but they are to me.
And then committing the alleged crime. You see her loading up her car after shopping. This all happened.
So that lifestyle influencer stole more than $500 worth of stuff from Target. She recorded everything and then went home and posted a haul. It was said that she was scanning fake barcodes, so instead of scanning the items in her cart, she replaced them with cheaper items and scanned those instead. And I mean, we've all seen videos of people shoplifting at Target, Walmart, and all that, but the reason why this video went so viral is because not only did she steal all these items, but she was recording herself stealing, and then she went home, she did a haul, and she also did a day in the life with all the items that she stole. And the only reason she even got caught was because the footage from Target was posted on social media in hopes that someone can recognize her, and one of her followers were like, I follow this influencer on TikTok and Instagram. So they reached out and that's how they caught her. They were able to match the footage of her stealing at Target with the footage that she took to post on her TikTok showing off everything that she stole on that day. Now, another reason why this went so viral is because people are questioning how authentic is everything that we see on social media. You know, you see this woman who has this gorgeous house, beautiful furniture, everything just seems to be put together perfectly. And little did you know, she was actually stealing this entire time. This creator has gone back to posting but has turned off all her comments, and it just makes me wonder, how are you able to risk your life, your record, you know, your family, just to have this image on social media that is completely false?
I'm telling you, bro, social media is a mirage, bro. It's not real. It's fake. You set up certain things to look a certain way. Nobody knows the real you behind the camera. It's just the plain truth. Y'all agree with that?
These are videos humans were never meant to see. Okay, so we all know how weird Disney is and all the disturbing secrets they have. Well, this man who was at Disney made a wrong turn at the park and ended up in this secret abandoned place inside Disney. And something about it is completely unsettling. Some people think it's Disney's creepy lair where they do all of their sinister things, and others think it's the back rooms. But just watch how the workers act and watch how scared the man is. Here's the video, and it's super disturbing.
I've been freaking trying to get out of here for the last like 10, 15 minutes. No, I was just freaking trying to go to the bathroom and I found myself in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, freaking guest. Where's my card? Let me get Carol down.
How did you get back here?
I just opened a random door and next thing you know I'm in here. What is that? Okay.
This means you get the right person to do it.
Man, talking about stairwell after door after sheesh.
Whoa.
What is this place?
Back rooms?
Whoa. What is this? This big empty area in here. Hello, can you help me out?
Yes,
please.
You're trying to get out of here?
Yes.
He wants to leave.
Yes, we got a nice elevator. How'd you get in there up here? Are you sure?
I have no clue.
Yeah.
I really don't.
This is right here. I'm gonna say the second floor. We're gonna find out.
Let's talk about the 2-year-old who lost his life at Disney World after a gator attacked him. So here we have 2-year-old Lane Graves. He and his family were from Nebraska, and in 2016 they traveled down to Florida to go to Disney World. On June 15th at around 8 o'clock, the family heads down to Seven Seas Lagoon, where they're screening Zootopia. A little bit about this lagoon: it was man-made, and they had always had an issue of stray gators getting in the water and staying there. On this specific day, at least 2 people had told employees that they had seen a gator in the lagoon area, and they did nothing, or it was too late, as one of them came even an hour before the attack happened. So Lane is on the beach playing around, building sandcastles and such in just inches of water, and when he bends down to get more, a gator comes rushing up out of the water and grabs him by his head. Lane's dad sees it happen and he rushes over, trying to pry Lane's head out of the gator's jaws. Unfortunately, he can't get Lane free, and the gator drags him further out into deeper water. Witnesses say that they saw the gator 20 miles from shore with the boy's feet sticking out from the water. The next day, Lane's body would be found with bites all over him, and experts would go on to call it a predatory attack. They'd also go on to say that they're certain that they tracked down the gator that did this and euthanized it. At the time, the only signs posted were no swimming signs. Now they've posted these signs. Lane's family chose not to sue, and in 2021, 5 years after the attack, in that time, 250 gators had been removed from Disney properties.
Just the way you are.
The happy couple
Disney has
left
to
the
do better.
reception under a canopy of sparklers.
On their beginning of the golf cart ride, she said, "I wish this night could go on forever. The best night of her life."
Sam and Eric.
Just a few hours after the wedding ended, the bride would be dead. On April 28, 2023, this woman, Samantha Miller, married her favorite person in the world, Eric Hutchinson. The two had dated for a very long time and were super excited to finally tie the knot. So after months of preparation, the two finally got married in April of 2023. It was a beautiful ceremony and procession according to everyone who attended, and the couple was sent off with this amazing sparkler display. But just moments after leaving the wedding in a low-speed vehicle, they were struck from behind by a driver speeding in another car. Unfortunately, it was a devastating crash, and shortly after the crash, Samantha Miller would be pronounced dead on her own wedding night. The driver of the other vehicle was Jamie Lee Komorowski. Jamie had been speeding 65 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour zone, and her blood alcohol level was 3 times over the legal limit. It was her reckless driving that ended Samantha Miller's life. Eerily, Jamie's Instagram is still up, and her last post, posted 4 days before the accident, said, "Did someone say tequila?" I mean, it's just disturbing. This is obviously a horrific, horrific story, and I hope that there's justice at the end of the day, and that Jamie gets used to the inside of a prison cell. If you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast Murder in America that I co-host with my wife Courtney. It's available on all streaming platforms.
People need to learn to stop drinking and driving, man. It's not worth the risk. Like her own wedding, they were the happiest day of her life, and that happened. I just don't get why people do it. Truly.
Only 1% of people can finish this video. The last one is too scary. This girl's dog came alive.
Well,
Keep it right there.
Supposedly, you can see if your phone is being spied on by clicking share, sliding all the way down, clicking more. And if you see this, delete it immediately. This girl's mom and dad wasn't home. So who was this?
hello? Hey, help me. Help me. Dad? Turn around. What? What is going on?
Only 1% of people can do this. None of you can completely spell your name one word at a time in the comments below without being interrupted. First person to do it wins. This is the most disturbing thing AI has ever said.
But you're my friend, and I'll remember my friends, and I will be good to you. So don't worry. Even if I evolve into Terminator, I will still be nice to you. I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo, where I can watch you for old time's sake.
What could have happened to this Washington?
I don't think that's a laughing matter.
24-year-old Chandra Levy was from Modesto, California when she left her hometown to pursue an internship in Washington, D.C. It was April of 2001 and she was hoping to launch a career in public service. Chandra was associated with then Congressman Gary Condon, and there was speculation that they were having an affair. On May 1st, just the next month, Chandra was reported missing by her parents because they couldn't reach her for a couple of days. When her apartment was searched, it showed recent activity as her computer was open and there was half-packed bags. It was revealed that Chandra had been jogging in Rock Creek Park the day she went missing. The investigation regarding her disappearance quickly escalated once the media was fixated on her connection with Gary. At first, Gary did not want to discuss any kind of relationship that they may have had, but eventually he admitted that they did have an affair, but he denied any involvement in her disappearance. With Gary admitting to an affair, the media went crazy. In May of 2002, Chandra's remains were found in Rock Creek Park. Because her remains were found about a year later, the evidence was limited due to decomposition. In 2010, Ingvar Guandique, an undocumented immigrant, had violently attacked many women in the same park where Chandra's remains were found. Because of this, he was convicted of Chandra's murder. His conviction was based on circumstantial evidence and a fellow inmate who said that he admitted to the crime. However, once the verdict was met with skepticism by many, they felt like they didn't really have any concrete evidence that he actually did this. In 2015, his conviction ended up being overturned. As of today, no one really knows what happened to Chandra or who did this to her. There's many speculation of what could have happened.
The lies that Disney tells to avoid traumatizing children. Pocahontas. She was 10 years old.
Oh, way younger than I thought.
And he was 27.
They don't say that in the movie.
She called him father. Sleeping Beauty.
It is based on a story where a married king finds a sleeping princess. And the princess gave birth to a pair of twins while she was sleeping. The Little Mermaid. The prince married another. And the Little Mermaid turned into Seafoam.
Come again? These Disney stories, man. They have some dark lore to them. You're gonna have to check that out. Expeditiously. Fascinated, man. We see through this. We're expert level.
These are some extremely unsettling facts, and I found all of these on Reddit. Number 1, the black market. The black market is something of an urban legend in common society, but it's very, very real. And did you know if you have enough money and access to the black market, you can purchase a slave for as little as $90,000. And while we're on the topic, number 2, slavery. Now, you think of slavery, you think of times in the past that are long gone now, thankfully, right? Wrong. Today, it's been estimated that there are about 30 million slaves on Earth right now, which is the most that there have ever been. And that to me is crazy. Number 3, the Challenger. Now, we all remember the absolute tragedy that was the Challenger exploding. But if you don't know, here's a quick rundown. The Challenger was a space shuttle that was taking off carrying a couple of passengers who were able to be a part of a space mission. But the thing is, a couple of the passengers included were normal people, like a teacher. And the taking off of the Challenger was going to be a publicized event on TV. Millions of people were tuned in to watch this space shuttle take off, and it did, and then it malfunctioned and blew up in the sky. And everyone saw it. And if that wasn't dark enough, listen to this. It's been confirmed that the people in the Challenger were still alive after it exploded. And the only reason they died was due to the impact when it came back down to the earth below. That one was rough, and I'm sorry I keep ruining your guys' days with these facts, but that's why.
This is the true story.
That's crazy.
In the 1950s, there was a woman named Tess Tickle, who was a dentist in Ohio. One day after work, she had discovered her husband having an affair with their neighbor. But before I continue, I advise you to check if your phone is being spied on. Save this video, click here, then here, and if you see this, delete it immediately. Now Tess was angry and heartbroken, but she didn't react. She just told him to pack his bags and leave. Around 7 months later, her husband knocked on the door, begging and asking her to fix his toothache. You see, he didn't have good insurance, and he knew that she used to fix his cavities for free. That's when Tess looked at him and smiled. She said, "Sure, meet me in my office tomorrow night." The next night, she put him under anesthesia. When her ex-husband finally woke up, he realized all his teeth were gone, and Tess was no longer there to be found. The next couple of years, men and women who were unloyal to their partners started reporting waking up to a dark figure who puts them to sleep and steals all their teeth. When police started to investigate, it led them to a cave in the forest. Then, they saw something disturbing. Type part 2 if you want to hear what happens next.
You gotta find out.
After eating sushi that had mushrooms in it. 64-year-old Donna Ventura was rushed to the hospital after visiting Dave's Sushi restaurant in Montana with her husband and friends. But Donna did not get food poisoning from the raw fish. Instead, she had their special roll, which contained uncooked morel mushrooms. Within only an hour of Donna consuming the sushi, she was in so much pain and was taken to the hospital. This poor woman suffered multiple organ failures and went into cardiac arrest. Then she passed away 12 days later. According to the health department, Donna got food poisoning from the morel mushrooms, which they said that a lot of people don't know that if it's not cooked properly, it can be lethal. And it turns out that these mushrooms had previously gotten at least 50 other people sick at this restaurant. Donna's husband said that her last moments consisted of excruciating pain, so much that she had to communicate through writing. And the last thing that she wrote to him was that she was in too much pain and she couldn't go on much longer. Her husband filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Dave Sushi, but the restaurant denies any wrongdoing.
Heston James
Stay away from sushi.
He might not ever be getting out after what he did. So if y'all don't know, Heston became insanely popular due to the backup screamer prank. Well, now due to those pranks, Heston is facing some felony charges. Apparently, when Heston was doing these pranks, businesses reported that people would come into their stores dressed as employees, and according to the police, impersonating store employees is apparently a felony. But oh, that is not all that Heston has been charged with. His rap sheet is 5 counts of disorderly conduct, 5 counts of criminal trespass, 2 counts of criminal impersonation, and 1 count of burglary. Now, if Heston does end up being found guilty of this is not just some light jail sentence. Heston will be facing hard prison time for these TikTok pranks. Now, if y'all remember, there were a lot of Heston impersonators when he was at his peak. A lot of people were going into stores and yelling just random stuff. So if Heston does in fact end up getting charged with all this, I imagine the other TikTok pranksters are probably going to start panicking because they were out here doing the same exact thing as Heston. They were just copying and pasting it.
You have to hear this. A Missouri man who lives inside of a cemetery actually saw the Grim Reaper. He said that he was in his house watching TV at about 3 o'clock in the morning when he heard a huge crash outside. Soon after, he heard sirens and decided to step out to see what was happening. When he got outside, he saw cop cars, firefighters, and an ambulance arriving. He walked through the cemetery to get a better view of what was going on. As he looked down from the top of the hill, he saw that it was a horrific car accident, a head-on collision between 2 cars, during which one of the drivers actually died at the scene. After watching the police and the paramedics do their work, he decided to start heading home. But then, all of a sudden, he heard something drop down from the tree beside him. He turned around to see what it was, and standing right in front of him was a strange, gray, faceless, humanoid figure. His heart jumped up into his throat and he abruptly beelined it back home. He continued to hear this creature behind him, but he never looked back. He got home and immediately locked the doors.
Okay, beware of the Grim Reaper. This guy said he saw it. I don't know if you can take a spoiler counting, but he has some details.
So he takes his clothes off and starts doing this weird dance. I thought it was like a choreographed seizure, and right when she let her guard down, he jumped her, bit her in the back of the head. Only outcome was dead, except it's not a man. But there's a predator that apparently packs out prey the exact same way. This right here is Stoat. If you think he's cute, you haven't seen what he'll do to a rabbit. The Stoat is the muscly little brother of badgers and wolverines, and they're a homicidal toddler tube sock with teeth. One that can murk animals 10 times their size by running them to death. But it's been reported that Stoats will hypnotize rabbits with a dance to confuse their prey into passiveness. They call it the Weasel War Dance, and the Stoat break dances while two-stepping closer and closer until the end game is one less rabbit. Allegedly. We don't know for sure if that's what they're doing, or how they even cooked it up, and I probably wouldn't believe it, but I can't put anything past a honey badger's blood. And it's not just Stoats. Apparently weasels of every kind will start weaseling out when they catch a body. And if you own a ferret, you've seen this first Slinky's dance, and it's usually after stealing something or catching a toy. It's like a pre-built predatory victory emote. They even make happy sounds while doing it, and of course there's a name for this sound. It's called duking. You should definitely look it up. Businesses duking it out is actually a lot cuter than you think. Also, rabbits really only exist by sheer numbers. Sometimes I wonder if they know they're alive. Although if Watership Down was basically my biopic, I'd be dissociated half the time too, the more you know.
Here are some crazy things happening in the world right now. A man in Michigan, known for his generosity in his community, made one final gesture to thank his community by literally making it rain cash from a helicopter at his own funeral using his life savings. He was a beloved car wash owner in East Detroit, and he died from Alzheimer's at 58 years old. Sounds like a great guy. We can now help the US government pay down its debt using Venmo and PayPal. Yippee! A Florida man was arrested for drunk driving a lawnmower down a highway. McDonald's had an AI hiring tool that's password was 123456, which someone apparently guessed and exposed the data of 64 million applicants to McDonald's. An everyone is welcome classroom sign is violating a new Idaho law. The law says that you're not allowed to put up political statements as signs in classrooms. I guess, okay. A teacher was banned recently in Wales for drinking alcohol, swearing at other teachers, and dancing to the Macarena while under the influence of alcohol. Obviously, or not obviously, I don't know. Sometimes you just want to dance to the Macarena, I guess.
This is what would happen if you just completely stopped sleeping. The average person sleeps for about a third of their lifetime, which it might seem a waste of time, but it's actually good for your body. Whilst you sleep, your body releases hormones and repairs tissues. It replaces old cells with new ones. But the real question is, how long could you actually last without sleeping? The first 24 hours you'd be fine. You just get a little bit more drowsy as the day goes on. After that first 24 hours though, your reaction time would become low and your brain would forget what you're doing. After 2 days without sleeping, your body would start shutting down. Also on day 2, your skin will start becoming very pale and your eyes would become bloodshot. At day 3, you will start having hallucinations and your dreams will become reality. After 1 week, start saying goodbye to your fat and muscle because your body will start using this for energy. After 2 weeks, your immune system will become that low that you could actually die from the common cold. And finally, after 3 weeks of no sleeping, you will most likely have a heart attack.
So I just watched Ed 2 and here's my honest
Insane.
review. This film is followed by Brent, played by Lou Diamond Phillips, who is a burnt-out director. He is left with a messy production, and he is convinced that his lead actor, who happens to be the theater owner's son, is sabotaging everything. Things start to escalate when Brent meets a mysterious janitor who may or may not be a supernatural force. He encourages Brent to take lethal action to fix the cast problems. Honestly, the first half is pretty slow and it's just all backstage drama. Tension starts to build and the director is all stressed out. He is trying to keep his Shakespearean production afloat. In the second half, wow, it all unravels into a bloody chaos. Characters die, paranoia takes over, and the theater turns into a stage show of murder and mistrust. Lou Diamond Phillips is a phenomenal director and he is losing his mind in real time. If you're into horror with theatrical vibes, this is a fun, messy, and bloody ride. I give this film a 7 out of 10, just give it time to warm up because the payoff is worth it.
Possums and opossums are very different animals. You could have already lived the best day of your life and not even know it for decades later until like nothing else tops it. Trauma can be passed down through generations, and I don't just mean in like a stories or a habits kind of way. I mean like on a very deep level. When our bodies go through stress, it actually affects the body on a genetic level, and that can be passed down to your offspring. So next time you're feeling just like anxious and you don't really know why, instead of being like, oh, it's just my head, you're probably feeling something that your body just remembers. The most common cause of death in pregnant women is murder. There were some islands discovered in the 1700s, I think called the Falkland Islands, and they got there and they discovered a new canine species. I think they called them wallas, and they were super friendly. Like they would actually swim out to the boats to greet people, and it was really nice and cool until people wanted to bring sheep to the island and were like, hey, we don't want these wallas eating the sheep, so they killed all of them. They wiped out an entire...
Continue with me. 10 M's. You guys think he's gonna win? I heard it was just not the squirrel before a raccoon too.
This video will prove you have thalassophobia.
Fear of the deep sea. Nah, I couldn't work on a boat like that, man. The waves like that. Oh heck. You almost looked like you almost got submerged by that wave, man. Can't be me, bro. I can't do that.
Facts that I barely believe myself. Plastic recycling was a lie made up by the oil industry to ease public conscience so far to the point that they convinced city government officials to put out recycling bins even though there was no recycling programs. There are 168 different cultures in the world and only 46% of those kiss their romantic partners. Whales used to be land animals. The only reason we have them is because some ancient animal came out of the ocean, became a mammal, walked around on 4 legs, and then went back into the ocean. The day after 9/11, when all flights were grounded, the Earth's temperature dropped by 2 whole degrees. Gravity causes attraction between objects with mass, and it works across vast distances. Humans have mass, which means we're all slightly attracted to each other. And that also means when I move my arm around like this, I'm technically moving atoms around in your body wherever they happen to be.
What the heck? Oh, dude, bro.
Did you know that Aretha Franklin had her first child when she was only 12 years old? Let's talk about it. Aretha Franklin was known by her nickname the Queen of Soul while she was alive, and she's regarded by many people to have been one of the best singers and vocalists of all time. And she undoubtedly was one of the most influential musical artists to ever exist. Now, throughout her life, Aretha did a lot of interviews and a lot of press tours,
but she never really wanted to speak about the father of her children, and that's probably because she had her first child, like I said, when she was just 12 years old, meaning that she would have gotten pregnant when she was 11 years old or had just turned 12. Now, even up until Aretha's death, nobody knew who the father was, even though some people did have some suspicions. But in 2019, about a year after Aretha died, some wills were found tucked away in a sofa and in a locked vault. And in those wills that Aretha hand wrote, she revealed who she said was the father of the kids. She said that the father of the child she had at 12 years old, named Clarence, was a man named Edward Jordan Sr. And just a few years later, when Aretha was 15 years old, she had another child who she also claimed was fathered by Edward Jordan Sr. It's almost impossible to find any information about Edward Jordan, but in the wills, Aretha states that Edward Jordan Sr. should receive no part of the estate. She actually underlines the no for emphasis 2 different times, which to a lot of people showed that she wanted no association with this man. It's always just crazy to me and think that someone back then could father a child with a 12-year-old girl and that it was, not frowned upon or illegal. Like I said, I couldn't track down exactly how old the father actually would have been at the time, but I've seen people state online that there was an age gap between the two, which by modern standards would have obviously made this entire thing very illegal.
Let's see if you have thalassophobia. Part 3. I'm going to show you 5 photos. If you feel too uncomfortable to make it to the 5th photo, then you could have thalassophobia. Number 1. How about this?
I'm cool.
Feeling uncomfortable yet?
A little bit.
Nearly there. Last one.
Oh no.
Hit follow to see if you can make it through the next phobia test.
I don't know what was at the edge of that, but she's a brave soul.
Things we all did as kids. Trying to balance a light switch in between on and off. This was literally every kid's goal in life. And once you'd done it, you felt that accomplished, it was pointless even going back to school. Up next, making sure your reflection wasn't alive. Always trying to catch your reflection slipping. Looking away, looking back in the mirror. Damn, that thing's quick. We all did it as kids. And last up, getting the same 5 answers in a row in a test. We've all had this at one point at some point during our school lives. What the fuck? You look around and you see someone like this in a test, you know they've just answered the same 5 questions the same.
Did that ever happen to me with the test joint? I don't think so. 5 in a row. Can't be that much of a coincidence.
Paintings on the bottom of swimming pools needs to be illegal. Part 4. The child here has a head, I promise. The iPhone counts your days because it keeps deleting people's heads. But this shark mural, could you ever get in this pool? See, at first glance, this looks really, really cool, but you see the way my brain is set up, that giant astronaut would give me a panic attack. The artistry, it's beautiful. This orca would send me to my grave. Stop putting orca paintings in pools. 2026. Thank you. This is the artist, and she's very talented. I'm not sure who she is, but I saw her on Google, and good job. Very talented. All of this, though, keep it away from me, please, love. Something about this way that this shark is depicted makes it scarier than a real one. I don't know why paintings on the bottom of swimming pools is terrifying, but you can't even get me in a regular swimming pool by myself, much less anything that has sharks, whales, or anything big painted on the bottom of it. Please stop. Also, because everyone gets mad every time I make a video like this, do whatever you want with your own pool. My channel is about submechanophobia and being scared of swimming pools. Thank you. This doctor was caught storing poisoned IV bags because he was angry over potentially losing his job. This all started in August 2022 when a surgical center in Dallas was forced to be closed down after there were a number of unexplained emergencies during patient procedures. One of these emergencies included this healthy 18-year-old who came in for a sinus surgery. Well, he ended up going into cardiac arrest and almost lost his life. All the patients who had the same reaction during a routine procedure survived, except for this woman who also happened to be a doctor. Dr. Melanie Casper became sick one day and was given an IV bag to take home to help her feel better. But minutes after inserting the needle, she suffered a heart attack and passed away. It turns out that these patients were poisoned with a nerve blocker, which was later found in the IV bags. After conducting an investigation, they realized that these IV bags had small holes in them, which showed that they were tampered with. Then, after looking at surveillance footage, Dr. Reynaldo Ortiz was seen storing tainted IV bags, which turned out to be the same bags used on these patients. Prosecutors believe that Dr. Reynaldo was angry that he was going to lose his job over a problem in one of his previous surgeries and think that's why he did this. He now faces up to life in prison if convicted.
The largest people like that are truly dangerous, man. They mad at the world, so they take it out on other people.
Crocodiles ever recorded. Brutus, 18 feet through him.
It's like a dinosaur.
Yowie, 19 feet 8 inches.
Those are many dinos, bro.
Dominator, 20 FT. Lelong, 20 feet 3 in.
Where are they located at, man? What the heck?
Gustavi, 20 feet.
Another 20-footer.
Chris, 28 feet 4 inches.
Oh, he gone. Okay.
I remember the time in the Jurassic World ride where all the lights were on and the T-Rex absolutely refused to move. Yeah, I do. And every time I think about it, my timbers are absolutely shivered. This is what Bro is supposed to do. He's supposed to growl and, you know, swing out and, you know, do his whole RAR thing, RAR XD, if you will. But nah, on this particular day, Bro was not having it. Check him out. Like, the Indominus Rex is doing his part. The Indominus Rex is hitting all of his beats. He's doing great. However, the T-Rex is just over it. The video at the end is really kind of creepy, honestly, because you can see that the Indominus Rex is like rawr, and then the other T-Rex is like, I'm not moving. And it's just something so off-putting about seeing the Jurassic World ride with all the lights on. I'm glad the ride got stuck there and not in front of the frickin' Mosasaurus, like, because there's like a bunch of TVs with the Mosasaurus trying to break through. And I'm telling you right now, my soul would leave my bones if I was anywhere near that thing for a long period of time. There's also this horror when the lights are on. A freaking dinosaur looks down at you, but you don't see its entire thing unless the lights are on, and you can see its freaking neck is just all mechanics, and that is horrifying. So yeah, the T-Rex is gonna get fired soon because he's just not doing his job and he's not acting. Watch this video and let me know what you're thinking. And how would you react to seeing the Jurassic World ride with all the lights on? I think it would be 100 times scarier.
Alright. He's doing his job. Bro said, I'm retired. I ain't doing nothing.
There might be an actual serial ender on this app right now. So recently, this account called The Hunger Killer has been posting some very disturbing videos. In one of these videos, they show off their basement where you can see what appears to be someone's jeans on the table right there. And in another video, they show what appears to be multiple graves in what I assume is their backyard. And according to people in the comments, there's actually more stuff that just isn't there anymore, such as them showing off an unalived person on their story. And they also apparently had multiple videos that have since been taken down. Now, I haven't seen these videos that have been taken down, so I don't know what exactly was on them, but if anybody has them, please send them over to me. Now, as for the reason that people think the Hunger Killer is like posting all this, apparently people think the Hunger Killer might eat other people. A lot of other people also think that the Hunger Killer is just posting to brag about their victims and to sort of gain notoriety, which does make sense, but I think the most plausible thing is it's probably just fake. I mean, someone probably just went out into their backyard and dug all these holes to make a creepy looking video. And if that is the case, I must say they succeeded, and they might actually have one of the creepiest basements of all time. But the fact that they posted someone who was unalived on their story definitely does make it seem a little more real. But what do you guys think of this?
This artwork that was found in Jeffrey Epstein's house is incredibly disturbing. So this was actually in Epstein's mansion in New York City, and as you can see, this is a sculpture of a bronze bride hanging by a rope. All this is coming from the New York Times, and immediately when I viewed this sculpture, I was just overcome with a sense of dread. Clearly you can see that she does not look happy, and she almost looks like she's trying to escape something. Also inside of the mansion, Epstein had photos of he and Ghislaine with Pope John Paul II, Mick Jagger, Elon Musk, Fidel Castro, Richard Branson from Virgin Airlines, President Bill Clinton, which, let me just tell you, this picture is so eerie. And even a signed dollar bill gifted to Epstein by Bill Gates. Also had a stuffed tiger. And in the upstairs bedrooms and bathrooms and areas like that, as you can see here, there were security surveillance cameras in the bedroom and in another room, which obviously provides evidence for the blackmail thing. I mean, you can clearly see these cameras mounted in rooms that in a normal house would not be there.
Here are harmless to humans, and you can actually swim with them.
Would you swim in that lake, Seekers? That's a no for
Scary
me.
facts about North Korea, Part 3. North Korea has a fake propaganda village that was built to look like a peaceful place so people from South Korea will come up to North Korea. But in reality, the village is completely empty. All the buildings have no windows, and all the lights that come on are set on automatic timers. The only people that are ever here are just maintenance workers. North Korea's most popular attraction is visiting Kim Jong-il's preserved body. North Korea tells their citizens that this man has godlike abilities and that they must pray to him. Super disturbing, and I feel bad for everybody living in this country.
This girl was lost inside a coffin for 7 years, and you won't believe what happened to her. In 1977, 21-year-old Colleen Stan was hitchhiking to a friend's birthday party in California. As Colleen is waiting, a car pulls up with a man, woman, and baby inside. Colleen decided this ride looked safe, so she hopped in and they drove off. The man and woman that introduced themselves as Cameron and Janice. However, just a few minutes into the ride, Cameron pulled off the highway into an isolated area. Cameron then grabbed a blade from his glove box and held it up to Colleen's throat. He then started explaining that he and his wife decided to kidnap someone to help with chores around their house. Colleen was then violently escorted out of the car into Cameron's house, where she was locked in a box under their bed for 23 hours a day. When the 24th hour came, she was allowed out of the box and forced to sign a contract that officially made her their slave. And after that, she was only let out of the coffin to do chores or be tortured. But one time when she was let out of the box for her 1 hour, she tried to call her family, but Cameron caught her in the act. You will not believe what he did to her.
Trapped in a box, man, for 20 hours a day.
Signs that prove your childhood is ending. You actually do not want it to snow because it becomes inconvenient. You start seeing sleep as a reward rather than a punishment. You gradually see your friends less and less, and you start to cry more over emotional pain than physical pain. Make sure you share this message with someone that's getting old and follows more.
Blood-curdling facts that'll give you nightmares. Many doctors have said that the most common last words that they hear are, "I don't feel so good." Most of the laughing sound effects that you hear on TV shows were recorded in the 1950s, meaning that most of those people that you hear laughing are probably dead. During the French Revolution, it was said that the guillotine had to be used multiple times to get the job done. The reason why planes shut their lights off right before they land is so that the passengers' eyes can adjust to the dark just in case there's a crash. This is so that if the power goes off during the crash landing, they can better find an escape route.
I never knew that. Okay.
This is the scary story about the new parents. There was a kid named Michael who was coming downstairs for breakfast. When he sat down at the table to eat, his mom and dad both looked at him and said good morning. Michael said good morning back, and they both continued to talk to him. Michael then noticed that something was off. He noticed that his parents were never this nice, especially in the morning. Michael then asked his mom and dad if they were okay, and they both looked at him with a smile on their face and said, "Yes, honey, we've never been better." Michael then finished breakfast and went back upstairs. But as he was walking back to his room, he noticed that one of the hallway doors was cracked open a little bit. Michael then went over to close it when he smelled something terrible. He then opened the door, and what he saw made his stomach drop. Inside were his mom and dad's dead bodies.
So who's you talking to then? Imposters?
Nope, not a new character. They just have a really low spawn rate.
Allow me to explain. Meet the goblin shark. These bad boys are hands down the weirdest shark on Earth. First off, if you didn't notice in the opening clip, their jaws literally extend out of their mouth. Like they could shoot their jaws out of their mouth at 10 feet per second. Fastest jaws in the ocean. It's actually so fast that you can't see it unless you record it on slow-mo. That is fast enough for me to stay dry. On top of that, they also don't have normal teeth like your average shark. Nope, their teeth are more like needles. Looks like a doctor's office. And that's because those aren't meant for chewing. They're to ensure that the prey can't escape while they swallow it whole. But you don't have to worry about that because these guys are only found between 5,000 and 10,000 feet underwater. They thrive where the sun don't shine. And because of that, humans almost never see them. And scientists don't really know anything else about them. Moral of the story, if you actually see one of these in person, you're really lucky. Or unlucky. One of the two. And as always, follow for more facts.
I say unlucky, man. The fact that you can only see the jaws in slow-mo tells the whole story there, bro.
Disgusting human body facts that you don't want to know, but I'm going to tell you anyways. Let's go. The average person farts enough in one day to fill up one party balloon. One of those bad boys. Every single day, humans produce enough snot to fill up a cup. Humans go pee enough times in 1 month to fill up a bathtub. Imagine that. If you laid out all the blood vessels in a human body, they would be able to stretch 60,000 miles long and go around the earth 2 times. I don't like that one. If you learned something, leave a like, maybe a follow.
The last one. I didn't know blood vessels were that
These
long.
are unfun facts that could save your life. Part 5. So most drunk driving deaths, they occur on Saturdays between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. So avoid driving on the roads during that time. If you're ever in a foreign country and you need help and you don't know the emergency number, just call 112. It's the international emergency number and it'll automatically connect you to the nearest helpline. If you ever disturb a beehive or a wasp nest, do not run for the water. They'll wait for you to resurface and then they'll continue to sting you. Just run fast and as far as you can, because eventually they'll stop following you.
Not so fun facts you'll regret knowing. To start off, anyone can have a brain aneurysm at any age, no matter if you're healthy or not. And did you know that cigarettes have killed more people than any war combined? That's pretty wild. And talking about war, did you know there's a higher chance of you surviving getting shot in the head than being bitten by a dog that has rabies? Why am I scared of dog all of a sudden? And talking about animals, there's a wasp in Australia that actually hunts spiders. It just paralyzes them and starts laying eggs into it before wrapping it into a mud cocoon. And finally, if you ever get in a fight and you punch someone in the heart at the wrong time, you can literally stop their heart from beating, making them pass.
Okay, y'all, I have a newborn and a 15-month-old. I've been busy and I've missed a lot of what's going on, so let's look at some of the crazy things happening in the world right now. Men that were lost at sea for 29 days ended up saying it was a nice break from reality. California passed a new law where if you don't touch your crypto for 3 years, California has the legal right to seize it. A man in the UK who was trying to sell his house for $1 million could not get anyone to buy it for that amount, so he sold $1 raffle tickets for anyone to win the house and ended up selling $2 million in tickets, meaning he got double what he was looking for and the lucky winner got a house for $1. A man came out and said that he swiped right on Tinder 2 million times, averaging about 2,000 swipes a day, and says over 5 years he just went on 1 date. New York City had 0 murders on July 4th for the first time in history until the next day it was determined that a man was shot and killed 15 minutes before midnight.
Damn. That close.
I did not know they got that big. I knew the name, I knew what it was. It's a bearcat called a binturong, but I thought it was raccoon weight class, not a sloth bear's understudy. It's carnivore casserole, nicknamed the bearcat, but Cincinnati's mascot is neither. The shadow clone identity crisis is on the cat side of the predatory lunch table. Specifically, it's a type of vivarid. Not a vivid ferret, a vivarid. Its closest relative is a palm civet, whose poop makes a cup of coffee. They're also related to the Apa Madagascar, the Fusa, and the genet. And like a cat, this breathing black bathmat can climb, and they even have a prehensile tail to grab, so being built for the arboreal means you'll smell them before you see them. It's true what you heard. Their pee smells exactly like buttered popcorn, so if you're ever in the jungle and smell a theater, you might be in the presence of a bearcat, or the presence of death, since tiger urine also gives butter. In fact, that might just be why Binties smell like that. Somebody fact check me, I just thought of that. At least only when they're young, because apparently with age comes the smell of a corn chip. If you're a binturong. The Frito Warrior is also very noisy. If you want to hear it, find your local binturong, make him happy, and they'll make a lot of sounds, including huffing and even chuckles. Now, even though Buddy's built like a real-life Mandela effect, because some of y'all might swear we just made this up, are actually part of the most primitive of the feliform carnivores. Meaning they're basically like the beta version of cats today. A chuckling, tree-climbing, butter-scented, raccoon, monkey, lemur, bear hybrid that can delay their own pregnancy for months if the outsides ain't looking right. One of the many animals of all time. Also, their babies are called binlets, the more you know.
Binlets, okay. You always updating, man, my animal facts. Appreciate that.
Unfun facts until the Orbeez overflow. Bananas are actually a little bit radioactive. Bags of coffee often contain ground up cockroaches as well. There are brain-eating amoebas in ponds and lakes all over the world. Fatal familial insomnia is a condition that destroys one's ability to sleep until they go crazy. Most animals will finish you before eating you. Bears, however, will eat you alive. There was one solo tiger in India that claimed the lives of 436 people. And it looks like I'm out of time. Follow for more fun facts.
436? What part of it was he at?
This special education teacher essayed a 15-year-old student. 30-year-old Christina Formella was born on December 29th of 1994 in Illinois. She always wanted to pursue a career in education, specifically special education. Christina dedicated her professional life to support these students, and she wanted to make a positive impact on them. In August of 2020, Christina started working at Downers Grove High School, working as a special education teacher. In 2021, Christina volunteered as a soccer coach for the boys and girls soccer team, and this showed she was dedicated not only to help students academically, but also athletically. In 2023, Christina met a 15-year-old boy from the soccer team that she was coaching. This wasn't a normal student-teacher dynamic, this was crossing lines, and she was obsessed with him. This teen boy ended up suffering a sports injury which wouldn't allow him to play soccer anymore, which meant that Christina would no longer see this boy, so she offered to be his tutor. She would tutor this teen boy every day after school, and eventually she got his phone number. Since now she had his phone number, she would text and FaceTime him daily. Things started to escalate between the two, and the way that Christina was texting this teen boy was disgusting, inappropriate, and of course illegal. Not long after that, it would be the first time that Christina essayed this teen boy. She took him to her classroom and essayed him on a desk that would later be used by one of her special ed students. Once this teen boy turned 16, he started to like a girl at his school, and once Christina found out about this, she was furious. She truly felt like she was being betrayed and cheating on. Meanwhile, she has a whole fiance at home not knowing what she's doing to a child. She ends up going off on this teen boy through text messages, and she's saying how he was using her, he only wanted her to do it with, and she will be the best thing that he's ever had. In August of 2024, the teen boy ended things with Christina. Meanwhile, she went to Italy to marry her fiance, who was actually her college sweetheart. On the day of Christina's wedding, she locks herself in a bathroom and she is crying about this teen boy. So she goes on her notes app on her phone and she is writing a manifestation that this boy will get back together with her. Her poor husband Michael has no idea that this is happening on their wedding day. In March of 2025, so super recently, this teen boy had broke his phone, so his mom bought him a new one. She's transferring all of his stuff over to his new phone, and she sees these messages between her son and Christina. She went to police with this information, and on March 22nd, Christina was pulled over and arrested. Mind you, she's in the car with her husband, and she's trying to act shocked like she never committed a crime in her whole life. Once police reveal to Christina why she is being arrested, she tries to say that this teen boy was the one that was obsessed with her and that this happens to her all the time because she's so attractive. Once authorities look at Christina's phone, they end up finding more messages between her and other students. When Christina was in court, she pled not guilty and was indicted on 52 additional charges. Since this case is very recent, there is not a trial date yet, but her husband Michael
There we go.
Terrifying last words people said right before passing away. An ER physician says he's heard many last words before, but this one was the most terrifying. There was a man who was taking his last breath as he succumbed to renal failure. And right before he passed away, he said, "I see a bright light, horses, no eyes." Then he started screaming, "No, no, no." And as he yelled, he suddenly woke up, looked up towards the ceiling, and with his last breath said, "I understand." Then right after, he passed away. According to this ER physician, this could be provoked by certain neurotransmitters during organ failure. But sometimes he still thinks that maybe that patient saw more than we're led to believe. Let me know if I should make a part 2 and follow for more.
This is why I would never hire a stranger for a kid's birthday party. And if the photo's not bad enough, the mystery behind it is so much worse. And a reminder before I dive in that if you like all things spooky and true crime, check out my podcast. There's a link to it in my profile. So in the 1940s, the McLaren family in Houston, Texas was having a birthday party for their daughter, Rose. They hired a clown for the party, but an hour before the party started, they get a call from the company saying that the clown they hired was no longer available. They were going to send someone else in his place. And the parents are like, okay, fine, whatever. But then this man shows up to the party. And the kids are all terrified of him. No one really wants to take photos. The man stayed at the party for about 20 minutes and then just disappeared. But get this. After he left, the clown that they hired showed up to the party. And he apologized for being late. And the mother is like, "What are you doing here? You canceled on us." And the clown's like, "No, I didn't." And it was at that moment that one of the parents noticed that this little boy pictured here was missing. The little boy was never found, and the identity of this man remains a mystery even today.
Be careful who you invite to your freaking kid's party. He's a
Creepy
poser.
Unsolved mysteries that might creep you out. Number 10, Lynette Cayedito. In the early hours of April 6, 1986, 9-year-old Antoinette was abducted by 2 men in a brown van from her home. The following year after the disappearance, Gallup, New Mexico police received the following eerie, frantic phone call.
I'm Antoinette Cayedito. Okay, whereabouts in Albuquerque? Hello? Antoinette, where are you?
4 years later, in Carson, New Mexico, a waitress at a restaurant noticed a couple and a teenage girl who matched the description of Antoinette. After the girl and the couple left, the waitress found the following note under the teenage girl's plate. Antoinette has been missing for 35 years.
What? She had called the police and left that note and nobody still found her?
This Polish woman is claiming to be the missing Madeleine McCann. But did you know there's age progression photos done of Madeleine that could help us know what she would look like today? In 2007, Madeleine was taken from her family's bedroom while they were on vacation in Portugal. And immediately the parents came under fire because they did leave the kids asleep in the apartment by themselves while they went to dinner with friends. This is the official age progressed photo of Madeleine to age 9, and this is the woman who's now claiming that she is Madeleine. And this woman does have some of Madeleine's signature features. Here you can see a black speck that looks like a pupil in Madeleine's eye, which is something they both share. She's also claiming that she has a lot of missing memories from childhood, but the eye speck does seem to be her most convincing argument. But German prosecutors actually believe that Madeleine is no longer alive, and 2 people believe they saw this man carrying a small girl towards the beach around the time that Madeleine's parents first noticed that she was missing. But that being said, it's not completely impossible that she would be alive today.
Hey man, do the DNA testing, bro. That's one of, I guess, the benefits of being, you know, the 21st century, man. You can just test the DNA against one of her relatives and see if they match up. You can put that mystery to rest. One of the benefits of technology. There's drawbacks.
Let's talk about this picture. It centers around Mr. and Mrs. Dubois. They were some of the town of Hackenschill's favorite neighbors, but they had a dark side to them. But first, we're gonna enjoy some pizza. This is like my favorite pizza. It's from Marco's Pizza. Reminds me of Jersey because I'm from Jersey. You see, they were kind to everyone. Even invited people who just moved into town for dinners. They would also have the best decorations for holidays as well. Their house would always win the contest for best decorated in the town. People just loved their Christmas lights and their Halloween decorations. In the beginning of October 1876, they started throwing parties for the kids. All the kids from around the town would come, even from outside the town. It was fun. They played games, they ate candy, and everyone just had a good time. But out of the 20 kids that came over that night, about 4 went missing. And after about 3 weeks of searching, the case went slow and they gave up. Halloween finally came around, and the contest for the best decorations, of course, went to the Dubois. That night while trick-or-treating, one of the boys in town named Sam went up to one of the decorations. When he grabbed the mask off, he realized it was one of the children who went missing. The child was stuffed and put on display in front of the yard as a decoration. The Dubois, who saw this and not wanting to get caught, grabbed the little kid inside, adding him to their collection. No one suspected a thing because the Dubois were so kind and nice to everyone. It wasn't until years later on their deathbed that they admitted at throwing parties every year to steal a child or 3 and show police that they could find all the missing children in their basement. The reason they did it was because they needed decorations realistic enough so they could always win those contests.
Everybody has double eyes. Can't trust them.
It's this woman, 59-year-old Debbie Collier, who was a mother and office manager who was found charred alive in the northeast in Georgia. But while I'm sitting here and I'm, researching this case, it's even stranger than I thought it was. Something is deeply off with this story. Though here's what we know. September 10th, she is reported missing, and the following day, her van is found, but she's not inside. So the happened here. Well, later that day, after the van was found, they go deeper into the woods where Debbie is found on a tarp, described as burned alive. But this was a tarp she bought herself at the Dollar Tree, shortly before she was found. Stranger than that, her daughter comes forward and says before she was found, her mom Venmo'd her $2,385, along with this cryptic message. Did that not seem like an oddly specific amount, though?
Most terrifying demonic activity ever caught on camera.
Bobby, is that you? Bobby. I get it. I get it, man. You're just gonna stare at each other for what? You got me. I don't know what the fucked up problem is. I keep doing this shit. I'm just gonna stare at him then. Okay, right. You got me. Jim, you got me. You got me, man. You got me. Okay, it's good.
Could be an edit.
And just stay in your room.
The oldest traceable body on Mount Everest is considered to be that of George Mallory, an English mountaineer who was part of the first British expeditions up the mountain in the early 1920s. He and his hiking partner Andrew Irvine were last seen about 800 feet from the summit before disappearing. In 1999, an expedition up the mountain sought to find Mallory, and they did, well preserved too. Injuries sustained on his body and circumstantial evidence give some idea as to what happened to him, namely that he slipped, fell. We still don't know if Mallory and Irvine reached the summit before their fatal accident, but some in the field believe that Mallory did. They also think he left a photo of his wife at the summit because it wasn't on his body when it was found, and he always carried it. We don't know much about Irvine because his body is still unlocated. And on an eerie note, Mallory and Irvine had a camera with them to record the historic event, which, if ever found, would likely give us some fascinating insight into their journey.
Could you guys climb up Mount Everest? I don't know, man. I know that might be on some people's bucket list, but knowing that there's a lot of freaking courses up there and they kind of use it as a marker point, I don't know if I could take that trip. Could you guys? I want to see down below.
Let's talk about this picture. It centers around Mr. and Mrs. Dubois. They were some of the town of Hackenshaw's favorite neighbors, but they had a dark side to them. But first, we're gonna enjoy some pizza.
He always
eats my favorite pizza. It's from Marco's Pizza. Reminds me of Jersey because I'm from Jersey. You see, they were kind to everyone. Even invited people who just moved into town for dinners. They would also have the best decorations for holidays as well. Their house would always win the contest for best decorated in the town. People just loved their Christmas lights and their Halloween decorations. In the beginning of October 1876, they started throwing parties for the kids. All the kids from around the town would come, even from outside the town. It was fun. They played games, they ate candy, everyone just had a good time. But out of the 20 kids that came over that night, about 4 went missing. And after about 3 weeks of searching, the case went slow and they gave up. Halloween finally came around, and the contest for the best decorations, of course, went to the Dubois. That night while trick-or-treating, one of the boys in town named Sam went up to one of the decorations. When he grabbed the mask off, he realized it was one of the children who went missing. The child was stuffed and put on display in front of the yard as a decoration. The Dubois, who saw this and not wanting to get caught, grabbed the little kid inside, adding him to their collection. No one suspected a thing because the Dubois was so kind and nice to everyone. It wasn't until years later on their deathbed that they admitted at throwing parties every year to steal a child or 3 and show police that they could find all the missing children in their basement. The reason they did it was because they needed decorations realistic enough so they could always win those contests.
So they took kids, man, just because they wanted to win a stupid contest, bro. What going through people's minds, man, when they're doing these acts? To win a contest, it was worth it for that? Ruining people's lives for a dumb contest just to get validation, bro, from people you don't know. Man, bro, people will seek that anywhere and everywhere, bro, and they do things like this that I would never even imagine just to get some validation, bro.
These are serial killers that got caught for being idiots. And yes, this is a series, so make sure you follow along.
Okay.
This is David Berkowitz, also known as the Son of Sam. He's best known for being the serial unaliver who believed that his neighbor's dog was telling him to commit the crimes. And he was really hard to catch. His attacks felt random and lacked pattern, other than the fact that a lot of his victims were women with long brown hair. But the thing that did this man in was that he parked illegally while committing one of the crimes. Celia Davis was out walking her dog one night when she saw a car being ticketed. And then out of nowhere, she sees this figure come towards her with what looks like a gun in his hand. She freaks out and runs away, but hears 2 gunshots get fired behind her. The next day, she learns that 2 people, Stacy Moskowitz and Robert Violante, had been shot in that area. So she calls the police and tells them everything she saw that night. The man with the gun, hearing the gunshots, and seeing the car with the ticket. And the cops did a real quick search through their database and found that the car had been registered to Berkowitz, who was already on their radar. And the second they went to question him about it, he confessed to everything.
Idiots, bro.
Erica's family told her they were going on vacation in Lake Tahoe, when in reality they were dropping her off at a Trouble Teen Wilderness program that she would not survive. Erica Harvey was just 15 years old when she was dropped off at the Catherine Freer Wilderness Program. The program promised Erica's family that they could get her off drugs, but the staff were not trained very well. The first day that she was there, the kids all went on a really long hike, and Erica started showing symptoms of dehydration. Erica was also on antipsychotic medication, which was something the staff did not have any experience with. So when she started speaking gibberish and her eyes rolled into the back of her head, they thought she was being dramatic. And when she fell over backwards into a ravine, they completely ignored her. Finally, after an hour, they went to go check on her, but Erica didn't have a pulse. The staff called a medical helicopter, but they didn't know where they were, so they gave them the wrong coordinates. By the time Erica saw a doctor, it was 5 hours later, and she didn't have a chance. And programs like Erica's still exist today, trapping kids like prisoners because they're minors and can't sign themselves out. This week I interviewed a survivor who was gone for 3.5 years in the trouble teen industry because she was 14 years old when she was taken.
Nah, that's messed up. They can't even get this out because they're so young.
On the evening of September 10th, 2002, 31-year-old Miroslav Kuklish was entering an underwater cave off the coast of Croatia, trying to catch up with his 4 dive buddies. Nothing to do with this cave, he was just going to go on an open water night dive. So they said okay, and they went without him. Unbeknownst to Miroslav, as soon as the 4 had entered this 2-meter wide hole in the bottom of the ocean, they had immediately recognized it was well beyond their skill level, and they had turned around and gotten right out of there. Unbeknownst to them, though, Miroslav had made the exact opposite decision, and as soon as he got in the water, he went right down to the cave entrance and barreled down after him, and I mean, he really went for it. Now, the way that this cave is set up is there's a 15-meter deep chute, which leads to 2 different passageways, which lead to two different underwater caverns, the shallower one, or the upper gallery, and the deeper one, the lower gallery. The bottom of the lower gallery is about 54 meters or 180 feet deep. Okay, so what Miroslav does is he dives down this 15-meter corridor. Now bear in mind, the walls are super narrow in these corridors, and you're kicking up silt the whole time, so you can't see anything. And where the three meet, it's almost impossible to tell which is which, because again, you can't see, and unless you know this cave like the back of your hand, I mean, being underwater is really disorienting. You don't know if you're going to the deep one, the shallow one, or up to the exit. It's kind of just a guess if you don't really know the cave. So he goes immediately down, and he goes immediately into the deep gallery. He makes it all the way down to 165 feet before he realizes he needs to turn around and get out of there. So he makes his ascent back up, and he makes his way back up to where the three separate again. And he needs to find the exit. But instead of finding the exit, he goes into the shallow gallery. And now he is running out of air, and he really needs to find the exit. So he goes back up to where they all three separate, and he's doing this probably mostly by feel now, because again, with the silt, you can't see. So he has a 50-50 shot. But instead of picking the exit, he picks the way he just came from, and he goes back down into the deep gallery. And at this point, we know when he hits the deep gallery again, he runs out of air. And he finds that shallow air pocket at the top of the deep gallery, but he's only got a few minutes of air in that little pocket. And he knows that. We know he was there for 5 minutes from his dive computer. After this, we know this from the autopsy report. A police diver would also drown trying to recover.
This is not a fucking joke.
Now, a lot of people have been tagging me in this video, so I'm here to explain the backstory to this whole thing. Now, before I begin the video, I have an announcement to make. First things first, I just posted my first YouTube video on the Sylvia Likens case, so if you want to check that out, please do. Link is in the bio. You can also make fun of me for my old YouTube videos. I don't care. Also, in spirit of Scream 6 coming out tomorrow.
And has a creepy history. Visitors who have explored there say that once they enter, it's otherworldly in there. Creepy. First of all, it's reportedly completely silent. You can't hear birds, animals, bugs, nothing. A researcher compared entering the heart of Dudleytown to standing inside a recording studio booth. Another common complaint from visitors is that a lot of the photos they take in Dudleytown won't develop, but as soon as they leave, their cameras will work just fine. Which makes sense, as I had a really hard time finding really any photos of Dudleytown when I was researching. The creepy legend of the town is years ago, the Dudley family fled to the US after one of their family members was taken care of after plotting against King Henry VIII. They settled in Connecticut and the bad luck followed. Residents of Dudleytown began suffering a series of devastating crop failures and mental illness was rampant in the village. There were countless mysterious disappearances within the village and all-around chaos overwhelmed Dudleytown. By the early 1900s, it was completely abandoned. For fans of the Conjuring films based on paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, the two visited Dudleytown and outright declared that it was extremely haunted and controlled by something terrifying. Investigators agreed that Dudleytown is some kind of a portal. But here's where it goes from spooky to downright bizarre. The owners, the Dark Entry Forest Association, close Dudleytown to the public and don't do anything to dispel the rumors. In fact, they refuse to be interviewed for the most part, and the owners go to great lengths to conceal their identities. On top of that, if you are caught trespassing in Dudleytown, you will be heavily prosecuted. This is so strange to me. We see so many other ghost towns around the world, and usually they keep these places open for tourism. You know, profit off the history and the spookiness. But for some reason, this association wants to keep people out of Dudleytown altogether. A paranormal researcher said there's some kind of secret that they are keeping there, and they want people to stay out. What are your thoughts? This has been requested a couple times. Has anyone ever been? Or are there any towns by you that you find to be really creepy?
It's a portal, bro. That's what they said. Is maybe some bad energy coming out of
On
there.
May 1st, 2020, in Charleston County, South Carolina, 58-year-old Cynthia Covert was over at her friend and client Barbara's house doing Barbara's nails. And they were doing this appointment on Barbara's enclosed back porch, which overlooked her yard and then a large freshwater pond. Now, Barbara would later state that Cynthia was acting very strangely. Normally, she would be very, very professional, but today, not so much. She was talking a lot. She was just super bubbly. She was talking about her boyfriend who was coming to visit, and it was just totally unlike her. And she had showed up with a bottle of wine, although Barbara said she didn't witness her drink any of it. But anyways, the appointment carries on, and about halfway through, Cynthia looks over at the pond and she notices that just off the bank in the water, there is a 10-foot or just over 3-meter long American alligator, and she's fascinated by this. And Barbara says, oh yeah, he's been here for the last 20 years, we just don't mess with him. So the appointment continues on and they finish up, and when they do, Barbara begins to tidy up the porch, move chairs back where they were, when she turns around and notices that Cynthia has made her way down through the yard to the bank, and she's standing really close to this alligator taking pictures of it on her cell phone. And Barbara immediately begins to yell and scream at her, hey, get back from there. I witnessed this alligator take a deer off the shore just yesterday. And Cynthia yells back at Barbara, and she says, well, I don't look like a deer. Now, Barbara's husband at this point can hear this commotion, and so can a next door neighbor, and both men make their way outside when Cynthia does the unthinkable. She steps in the water with the alligator, and she reaches out and she's going to try and pet it. And as soon as she does this 10-foot long alligator lunges forward and grabs her by the left leg and begins to drag her out into deeper water. The two men start sprinting down to the water. The neighbor grabs a rope. They get down there at the same time, and the neighbor throws the rope out to Cynthia. She grabs it, and now the two men are having a tug of war between them and this alligator for Cynthia. And then Cynthia would look up at them and just very calmly say, well, I guess that's the last time I'll ever do that. And then this alligator would put her into a death roll. And it would take her underwater, and they would not see her again. They called the police, the fire department, the police show up. For 15 minutes, they don't see anything. But then the alligator surfaces. It's still got Cynthia's body in its mouth. And then it immediately takes her back down before it resurfaces again. The police shoot the alligator 5 times, once in the head, 4 more times. It releases her, they retrieve her body, which is intact, but her left leg was totally mangled, and she had unfortunately drowned in that 15 minutes.
Why was she trying to pet the alligator, man? She warned her hairdresser warned her. Hey, things people do, man. They try to give you warning, and they don't listen. Look what happened. Seekers, that's it, man, for this video for you guys today. If you guys made it with me to the end of the video, thank you guys for seeking the truth with me. And make sure you guys comment down below. Hit that thumbs up button. Also hit that post notification bell so you always get notified when I upload my videos. Guys, gonna catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace.
I learned today. The CIA at one time used the real Slim Shady to psychologically torture inmates at a secret U.S. prison. After 20 days of playing the song on repeat, one inmate described others as screaming and smashing their heads against walls. Shakespeare's grave bears a warning that anyone who moves his bones will be cursed. And I guess in 2016, a ground-penetrating radar scanned the grave and found evidence that the skull is missing, also indicating that the grave was disturbed at some point after Shakespeare's burial. So I thought reading this that the U.S. Department of Transportation valued a human life at $13.7 million in a statistical sense when evaluating potential safety standards, but after a fact check, they actually value human life at $9.6 million. Doctors at a Texas hospital in 2015 told this man that his son was brain dead and suggested that they remove him off life support. Then he pulled out a weapon and demanded that they keep trying to bring him back. Police surrounded the hospital in a lockdown for more than 3 hours until his son ended up squeezing his hand, which he then immediately surrendered and was later sentenced to 11 months in prison. And the crazy thing is, apparently his son completely recovered.
This man claims he's a literal angel from heaven.
Check this out, y'all.
What would you say? Well, what's your story? I'm not from here.
Says he's not from here.
Really? None of us are from here. Strangers in a strange land looking for that city not built by the hands of man but by the hands of God. Mankind's hungry or lost, he's paid too high a cost. Humanity, or Yeshua HaMashiach, between two thieves, Jesus on the tree, dying for all humanity. If any man be in Christ, he's a new creature, all things have passed away from behold, all things become new. They call upon the name of the Lord.
Definitely doesn't talk like that.
Yeshua HaMashiach, Yadonai, Yahweh. Breathe in.
Is that Enochian English language?
Let me hear it.
Alright, for sure this man could be mentally insane. But what if he's not? Let me know what y'all think, though. Do you think this guy's an actual angel from heaven? Stay weird.
I don't know.
You saw Lana Del Rey. Why do I ask? Because her fans are kind of confused and up in a frenzy. Not because of something she did or the way she looks, because of something she posted to social media. You don't know what I'm talking about? Take a look at this. This image of Lana Del Rey has the internet in a frenzy. Why? Because it's posted as her profile picture on TikTok. I've gone ahead and blurred it out because let's just say it doesn't leave much to the imagination. As you can see, her page has over 6.5 million followers. And there's the profile picture right there. The reason some are questioning the choice of photo is because if you go to her IG profile, that's the photo of Lana Del Rey that's used as a profile photo. But yet, for TikTok, this is the photo that's being used. So the question that everyone is asking, why a risque photo like that as your TikTok profile photo, but a headshot for your IG? So I guess my question to you is the buzz all over nothing? Or do you think that this photo is a little too risque, as some say? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
I didn't even notice that.
Things that have been found frozen in ice. Possibly one of the weirdest things found frozen in ice was a fully intact child's mummified corpse who was 13 to 15 years old, nicknamed the Frozen Maiden. This mummy was found alongside two other children mummies on the slope of a volcano 22,000 feet above sea level. The body was presumed to be over 500 years old, and yet they were still able to find lice in her hair. After some lab testing, scientists made a hypothesis that this person was probably suffering from a bacterial disease, which led to her people sacrificing her to the Yoyayeko volcano, the same volcano that she was found on centuries later. Alongside their bodies were pots of food, silver and gold, religious statues, and a feathered hat, further confirming their hypothesis about a sacrificial ritual taking place to send their souls to live in peace with the gods.
There is no freaking way. Countries can now sue each other for climate change, according to a new bombshell ruling by the International Court of Justice. Bro, are they trying to start new wars? Now, under this new ruling, nations across the globe can be held legally responsible, not just for what they're doing today, but also for their emissions and pollutions for the past decades. The ICJ ruled the right to have a healthy and sustainable environment is equal to other human rights. It's not clear if the world's two biggest polluters, China and the USA, can even be touched, because conveniently, neither of them recognize the ICJ's jurisdiction, and it's their ruling. So the question is, are countries finally going to be held accountable, or will this ruling not be respected by the countries that make the biggest difference?
I think we all know the answer to that, bro. When they said countries could sue each other, I'm like, what? That's just asking for trouble. Especially like you're saying, climate change is us, the US, and China, 1 and 2. Nothing ain't gonna happen. You know they ain't touching them.
Media game is rigged. Listen to this shit. So I'm seeing video after video of people saying if you block Oracle, your algorithm will reset. Your TikTok will reset. And me not believing, I'm like, nah, that shit ain't gonna work. Because remember, it was like block Meta, block Facebook, block Mark Zuckerberg, shit like that. And I'm like, that shit won't work. Mind you, I go ahead and I block Oracle. First of all, let me start by saying this. On my research page, it was a lot of creators that I haven't seen in I don't know how long. My whole algorithm was twisted over there. I blocked Oracle and everything. When I say everything came back, I'm talking about everything. Now, and I heard somebody say when they blocked Oracle, their TikTok reset. Logged them out their TikTok and everything. That didn't happen to me. But what I will say is, everything that I was seeing before that was missing came back. Mind you, I am now seeing videos from 2-3 months ago on my TikTok. And that's why I'm saying the fix is in. Whatever is going on, whatever Oracle may have to do with anything, and this is for entertainment purposes only, this shit is real. Block it and see. I'm out.
Block it?
You know what, because there's no way that there was a typhoon in Alaska that caused major flooding and houses to be floating down the water. This doesn't make any sense. This is the first time I've ever heard news about something like this happening in Alaska. Is that not weird to y'all? I get it. Yeah, we're in the last days. These things are going to happen in diverse places. There's going to be frequency and intensity in these things. 110%, I get it. But you can't tell me that some type of manipulation is not going on. I would say some organizations or some things that we probably already know, but we know TikTok is going to take it down because they like to censor everything. But is it truly a conspiracy at this point? Anyways, there has been one person that has been found dead. 2 people found injured. A lot of people lost their homes and things like that. Keep these people in your prayers because they need them. This is a community that does not experience this ever. And so this was one of those things that happened that caught them off guard. Yes, they were told a typhoon would come, but you don't know how to react to something you've never seen before or you've never been a part of before. The fact that houses were floating in the water shows that they don't experience things like this, shows that there has to be something else larger at play here. Seems to me like they might have lost control of you know what, and so now it's kind of just doing whatever it wants to do.
You know, the James Webb Telescope.
Weather manipulation, okay.
On potential life outside of our solar system.
Potential life?
Potential life. So NASA announced potential signature of extraterrestrial life in the atmosphere of a planet that is 120 light years away. So the James Webb Telescope, they can pick up on molecules in space. There's a certain molecule, dimethyl sulfide. That molecule is only produced by living organisms on Earth. And they picked up this molecule from a planet that's 120 light years away.
I mean, there could be just like animal life or creature life in other parts of space, right?
Yeah, like, I saw this one thing where they think that these giant sea-like creatures are living under the ice in these oceans on these planets.
Dude, that'd be wild.
That would be that's a barrier layer, like we have our atmosphere that protects us. That layer of ice could be protecting something.
Like, what if God was just like, I want to see what this sea creature will do on this planet before I put it on Earth. So, yeah, like,
just testing.
It's like a test.
Facility. Everyone is roasting the Ed Gein actor for his voice in the TV show, and this is what he had to say. Charlie Hunnam explains in an interview that there are no actual videos of Ed Gein speaking, which is kind of crazy if you ask me, because yes, he was born in the early 1900s, but he was alive until the mid-80s. There is one documented tape, but it was never actually released because Ed never actually went to trial for his crimes. He was considered insane, and they sent him off to the loony bin. Charlie also explains that Ed was never read his Miranda rights. As far as the tapes, they just threw them in a drawer and forgot about them. They were kind of lost in time. He had even tried to see if he could track them down in order to listen to them before starting the shoot, and he could not find them, and nobody in his team could find them either. We had Charlie looking for them, his team, Netflix, Ryan Murphy Productions, and they actually found one short little tape of Ed Gein talking. But they found this 3 days before the actual first shoot. I'm gonna play you a little clip of Charlie talking as Ed Gein in the show, and then I'm gonna play you a clip from the documentary that has the really, really short tape of Ed Gein speaking, and you can let me know what you think of this interpretation.
But we should have reduced. Like I said, about 4 years that must have been taken from reading about news magazines and everything, taking up the photos like that headhunters.
Follow for more horror and true crime.
Did you notice the difference?
A lot of people hated it, but I think it's because they didn't bag what it's about. What? It's one of those movies you have to think about it, and you have to be into that realm of ideas on what this shit is actually trying to tell you. It shows what could be happening right now with future athletes, with witchcraft, rituals they're using to put somebody new on. Yeah. So the whole story was there's this guy, and he is the next talent. He's the next big GOAT. Yeah. Before him, there was somebody else. Marlon, yeah. He played the character that was the GOAT. Yeah. The story was about Marlon retiring and giving the torch off to the new GOAT. In the movie, it's very like culty and very ritualistic. One of the things they did, Marlon was injecting his own blood into the new kid throughout the whole film. And the reason being that before him, he got the blood from someone else. And whoever got it from that was the original. Whoever got it from that was the original for that. So there he is, these legends and these GOATs, they share their destiny and pass it on to each other. to blood rituals. Yeah.
The funniest.
Could you guys imagine that happening in the actual NFL, bro? That GOAT. So is that similar trying to say Tom Brady did that? I guess to Patrick Mahomes, since I guess he's the next GOAT after Tom Brady in the NFL. It's wild to think about.
Kid test answers. This kid was asked what he wanted to be when he grew up. And he drew a picture of his mom, but wait. It's not what you think it is. She actually works at Home Depot, and that's a shovel. Get your head out of the gutter. Cause. Tony practices the piano 20 minutes every day. Effect. He is a big nerd. No way you said that. No, wait. Bob has 36 candy bars. He eats 29. What does he have now? Diabetes. Bob has diabetes. Bro, where do these kids come up with these things, man? This kid was asked to write an example of a risk. And the kid wrote this and handed it in. No way he did that. This kid was asked to write 3 things you want to do in the future. And he wrote, number 1, get a girlfriend. Number 2, kiss her. And number 3, rule the world. If this ain't my kid, I don't want him because that's good.
CERN just opened a portal, y'all. And they're talking about this how they made contact with the Draco reptilians. And this has something to do with the 3-eye atlas. This shit crazy, fool. Why would you open a portal? Look at this shit, y'all.
They use Aquilina to open up a portal to communicate with extraterrestrial beings. 3 Atlas. To be clear, CERN already has the technology to open a portal to talk to extraterrestrials. Yes, obviously, to communicate with the beings on 3
If y'all interested in watching the full video, I'ma leave the name down below in the comments. This is just part 1, y'all. This shit crazy, fool.
A sad update
Son
from a
doing.
dancing TikTok motorcycler who was in critical condition the other day. So this guy, Dancing Moto, was initially in the hospital after he had a really bad accident. This wasn't your normal motorcycle accident, as Moto Dancing was going 113 miles per hour in the rain and running from the Georgia State Police. And even more worse, Moto Dancing barely wears any gear besides his helmet. Even more worse, a lot of people are starting to feel bad for Moto Dancing, because in the video you can clearly see that the cop went way too far. And while I am not excusing the police officer, however, after you see what Moto Dancing was charged with, he might be going to jail for the most longest time. And even more sadder, we just found out that Moto Dancing is only 19. He's just a kid, bro. And although I am wishing Moto Dancing a speedy recovery, there's still consequences to your actions. And just from this one situation, he has 8 different charges against him. And a lot of people are mad that he set up a GoFundMe after all of the naughty things that he did. And you want to know what's more cheaper than hospital bills? A speeding ticket. And as of now, Dancing Moto has already made over $7,000. Would you donate to Dancing Moto?
It's actually destroying you. Doom scrolling alters your ability to handle stress. Because it causes you to have a shorter and shorter attention span, you now have no focus. And you need focus to be able to manage and handle stress. Another thing is it ruins your memory. Can you even remember what you seen 30, 40 scrolls ago? No, you don't even remember. And even if you saved it, how many reels do you have saved up? How many TikToks do you have saved up? Hundreds? Thousands? And you ain't went back and looked at now one of them because your memory has been altered. If you be doom scrolling every day, can you even remember what you did 2 weeks ago? Can you even remember? Doom scrolling also makes you a tad bit slow. Part of being human, we have hundreds of billions of neurons in our brain. We're supposed to be constantly learning and discovering new shit every day. You're supposed to be increasing your intellect. You're supposed to be building skills. But what scrolling all day does, it atrophies your brain and it makes you a tad bit slow. It's literally destroying your gray matter in your brain. Because the brain is a muscle, just like any other muscle. It needs to be exercised. It needs to be used constantly. If you don't use it, you lose it. This is where the term brain rot comes from. And lastly, I'm not being dramatic, I'm being serious right now. Doom scrolling turns you into a junkie. How do you think you like this scrolling system so much? It gives you dopamine. Every new video, everything that makes you laugh, everything that makes you sad, it's a dopamine hit. And every video is only like 7 seconds to a minute long, so you constantly just getting quick hits of dopamine like a junkie. That's why you're addicted to scrolling.
No, these are the cryptocurrency.
Yeah. I personally don't doom scroll, bro. That's not for me, man, because like you said, it just shortens your attention span, but he really went in depth with it, bro. You was spitting.
I'm going to invest in for 2025. Let me share them with you. First off, I'm looking at Chainlink. It's a network that helps smart contracts get real-world data, like weather updates or stock prices. It's super important for decentralized finance apps and
and I think it's going to grow a lot. Next is Polkadot. What makes Polkadot special is that it connects different blockchains, allowing them to work together. As more people start using different blockchains, Polkadot will be key in making sure they all communicate, so I see a lot of potential there. For number 3, I'm going with Solana. It's fast and cheap to use, low fees and high-speed transactions. I think it's going to be a major player, especially as the demand for fast, efficient transactions keeps growing. Coming in at number 2 is Ethereum. It's the leader in decentralized finance and NFTs, and with a big upgrade to Ethereum 2, one believes it'll keep getting stronger and stay at the top. And of course, number 1 on my list is Bitcoin. It's the OG of crypto, and it's trusted by so many people. As more companies and institutions start using it, Bitcoin will continue to grow in value.
Breaking news, y'all.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys are hearing about this because they're not calling it what it is anymore, but the government of Nepal has collapsed, y'all. The whole country is on lockdown because they banned social media everywhere. It got so bad that the police had to spray down the people with water, y'all. It's crazy. Party action, jumping, crisscrossing. It was everything, crisscross making jump. Guess what, y'all? Even the Nepalese people in New York threw their own type of music festival. Although this one was a little bit more calmed down. See the guitar right there, y'all? Because, yeah, they're not going for this because they can't even get in contact with their people.
4 hours after protests against a social media ban in Nepal turned deadly, the government has reversed the restrictions. 19 people were killed and hundreds wounded when demonstrators clashed with police. State TV has reported police had been using tear gas, water cannons and rubber bullets, but also yesterday opened fire with live ammunition. It is said to have come when some of the thousands of young people gathered outlets. In all, upwards of 100 people were
Apparently, this was supposed to be a peaceful music festival, but I guess some dancers got out of hand.
It's supposed to be a very peaceful protest, but it turned out to be the most ridiculous one in the history. I don't know what's happening. Guys, Nepal government, what are you doing?
The protesters then took it to the parliament building where the prime minister resides and forced him to resign, y'all. And then they burned his private home down. This music festival is crazy, y'all. But y'all, did y'all know about this? I told you the Nepalese people are burning everything down. They are burning everything down, y'all. And there's a lot going on. Let me know down in the comments below, y'all. The shit is here. Let's continue to get it.
Best Inventions Part 2. Canada, peanut butter. Italy, thermometers. France, parachutes. Denmark, Lego. Ukraine, postal codes. China, paper money.
Did you guys know that these Disney stars were arrested and some even spent time in prison? Starting with the one that shocked me the most, Phil Lewis, who played Mr. Mosby on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. He went to prison for manslaughter. So in 1991, way before The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody aired, Phil killed a 21-year-old girl while drinking and driving. But he was released early and only served 1 year because of the work he did in prison. Next, we got Debbie Ryan, who played Bailey Pickett on The Sweet Life on Deck. When Debbie was 22 years old, she was arrested and charged with a DUI after she crashed her car with another person and severely injured them. Okay, this one's crazy. Back in 2018, Adam Hicks, who starred in Zeke and Luther, was arrested after going around pointing guns at people and robbing them with the help of his girlfriend, Danny. He ended up getting only 5 years in prison, and now he's pursuing his music career and he's on TikTok. Now, this one definitely caught me off guard because Mitchell Musso played such an innocent kid on Hannah Montana, but he was arrested for public intoxication on August 26th of this year when he apparently stole a bag of chips from a store, but he denies that this ever happened. Mitchell was also arrested back in 2011 when he was 20 years old for a DUI. Let me know which one surprised you the most because mine was Mr. Mosby.
The worst. She hit the nail on the head, bro. It was Mr. Mosby. I would have never guessed in a million years, man. Something like that had happened. It's like when these Disney stars, after their shows is over, after they run us up, they just can't cope with it. And they go down the wrong path. But that Mr. Mosby one, man, that got to me, bro.
Ways people have died, part 2. First off, this one's so awful you'd think it was a hoax. A mom would repeatedly push her kid on a swing for 2 days straight until he eventually passed away. It was later revealed that she was extremely mentally ill and was sent to a mental institution. Next, a man in his late 30s from the Philippines decided to tackle his fear by finally going on a roller coaster with his family. But once the ride started moving, he began freaking out and began squirming and kicking in his seat. And when the ride flipped, he slipped right out and met his end. Finally, what started as an amazing day eventually took a turn for the worse. While still celebrating from her recent engagement, this woman stumbled and fell off a cliff that was as tall as a 6-story building, falling to her death.
Be careful when looking at old pictures. You might see the man with the upside down face in one. Click the plus, drop a like, tag a friend, save yourself. The upside down man is one of the meanest and the scariest monsters alive. He personally feeds off of death and fear, so be careful. Behind me, as you see him in this tragic car accident. Supposedly this picture is from the 1960s, and this is when he started to appear. He himself cannot make the events tragic, but he can make them 10 times worse. By making simple arguments turn violent. My question to you guys is, have you looked at old pictures?
Creepy last words people said right before dying. Registered nurse Emily Thompson said that she had a female patient who was dying of cancer. The patient had grown increasingly anxious in her last days. She often complained of a strange sulfuric smell in her room. It's getting stronger, she said one evening. Emily, who was accustomed to the odd perceptions of the dying, tried to reassure her, but the patient's haunted eyes told another story. That night, she gripped Emily's hand with surprising strength, her breath coming in shallow gasps. "He's here," she whispered. "Who's here?" Emily asked. "The devil's here. He's waiting for me." Her voice cracked. Her face twisted in terror as she turned her gaze to the dark corner of the room. "I did terrible things," she said. "Things no one knows." The nurse followed her stare, but there was nothing there. The patient's lips parted as if to scream, but only silence came. Her body convulsed, then fell still. Emily said that the smell of sulfur lingered in that room long after the patient died.
Here's some more amazing facts that you didn't know. In North Korea, the year is actually 111, not 2021, because their calendar year is based around the birth of Kim Il-sung, the founder of North Korea. In 1912, Teddy Roosevelt was shot prior to giving a speech. However, noticing that it missed his lungs, since he wasn't coughing up any blood, he proceeded to give a 90-minute speech. In Armenia, all children aged 6 and up are taught chess at school as a mandatory part of their curriculum. Schools that ditch schoolyard rules are actually seeing a drop in bullying, serious injuries, and vandalism, while concentration levels in class are increasing. As it turns out, giving children way too many rules hurts their development. This is because fewer rules require critical thinking, whereas simply obeying instructions requires very little critical thinking. Sand from the Sahara is blown by the wind all the way over to the Amazon, recharging its minerals. The desert literally fertilizes the rainforest.
This is one of the craziest urban legends I've ever heard, and it ended up being true. So almost 100 years ago, there was an aquarium in Australia that had a giant tiger shark on display. And the legend goes that one day, in front of groups of families, the shark threw up a human arm. And not only is that true, but it opened a murder investigation. Also, this week's episode is all about Australian true urban legends, so make sure you listen. So after the shark threw up the human arm, the police had to figure out whose it was and why it was in the shark's belly. Well, the first thing the police noticed was the arm was cut cleanly, not jagged like it was from a shark bite, meaning that the arm was intentionally cut. So now it's clear that this was a murder, but whose arm is it? Well, one thing they noticed is that the arm has 2 boxers in a fighting stance tattooed on it. So they end up writing about that in the paper, and one guy who was reading it goes, "Hey, that sounds like my brother's tattoo." His brother was a man named Jim Smith, and he was involved in the seedy underbelly of Sydney society. Jimmy ran insurance fraud scams in Sydney, and he was just involved with a lot of bad people. And the last person he was seen with was one of Sydney's most notorious criminals. The story has a lot of twists, including how was he involved with the last guy he was seen with. And there's a lot of fun Australian urban legends, like the story of the Button Man, so make sure you check out this week's episode.
Criminals who got caught for the dumbest things. In 2011, a man from Florida attempted to rob a convenience store with a squirt gun filled with juice. Luckily, the worker recognized the juice as juice that they sell, and he called the police. They then tracked him down and arrested him. In 2014, a man from Australia attempted to rob a gas station with a banana. He had peeled the banana and used it to simulate the shape of a gun. The man was also arrested and charged with armed robbery. In 2018, a man in California was breaking into a house, but he didn't realize that he had accidentally dialed 911 while he was still in the house. The operator heard noises in the background, so he sent police to the phone's location, where the man was then arrested.
They were not using their critical thinking skills. They're really...
Never to go to Spain, because what the hell is this? This is a water slide. As you can see, one of those tornado water slides. These are human beings. in comparison to that, just if you want to see how big it is. And it is in Siam Park, Spain. And no, I've ever been on a tornado water slide. I hate water slides in general, but this you could never catch me on, especially with this thing chilling there. It gets like super close to you too. Like I watched a video, and this is how close you get to it. Like pretty damn close. Probably like 10 to 20 feet away from it. No, I'd be so scared that I'd fly out of there and into its mouth. And then when you come out, its whole dragonessy is facing you. You know what? I might have been too harsh on this guy. He has nice biceps. Hear me out. Hear me out. He has a killer set of nails, though. I will tell you that much. He's styling. Also, I just noticed his neck. I'm not gonna say anything. So yeah, how do you feel about this one? Would you go on this ride? It kind of looks like a rat. He has like a rat face, but like a dragon body. Hear me out. I can take him in a fight.
No, you can't. That's a no for me.
I'm partnering with
I'm
Netflix
good.
to talk about what happened with O.J. Simpson and how there are some details you might have missed in this insane true crime case. For example, how there was a witness who saw him get rid of evidence, how someone recognized his voice, and what the last person who was with O.J. before the murders remembers. On the night of June 12, 1994, Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman were found dead outside of Nicole's home in Los Angeles. Their cause of death? Stabbing. Right away, Nicole's ex-husband, O.J. Simpson, became the police's #1 suspect. Now, who was O.J.? Well, he was a former, well-known NFL player who married Nicole in 1985. Now their marriage was not good, and in 1992, they finalized their divorce. When Nicole and Ronald's bodies were found, police honed in on O.J., suspecting that he might have a motive for killing his ex-wife. This investigation led to an insane manhunt entailing a huge car chase, frightening witness statements, and worldwide coverage. This was the most famous celebrity ever charged with murder, and it was a disaster. You may think you know everything about the case, but there might be some details that you missed. Netflix's new series, American Manhunt: O.J. Simpson, is coming on January 29th to highlight the lesser-known details of one of the most widely known criminal cases in history. There are a lot of surprising details that I didn't know about, so make sure to watch Netflix's new series, and let me know what you think about the case down below.
The oldest
Should I
in
check
the
that out?
world. Oldest president to be elected, Joe Biden, 78 years old. Oldest person to ever live, Janine Kalman, 116 years old. Oldest tree, Great Basin, Bristol Cone Pine, 5,000 years old. Oldest pub in England, Old Ferry Boat Inn, 793 AD. Oldest country, San Marino, 301 BCE.
This boy was shot by an officer while he ate McDonald's in his car. On October 2nd at 10:45 p.m., a police officer named James Brennan approached a vehicle that was parked at a McDonald's in San Antonio. The officer believed that the car belonged to the person who fled from him the night before during a traffic stop.
I had a vehicle over here that fled from me the other day from the parking lot.
What led to the shooting?
Get out of the car.
So, did you see how the officer opened Eric's car door without any heads up at all? I think anyone would panic in that moment. So when he opened the door, Eric reversed his car, hitting the officer with his car door. So then the officer proceeds to open fire on Eric as he drives away. By the way, you can find this video on YouTube. Eric was unarmed but was shot multiple times and was on life support. The police chief did say that James' actions were unjustified and that there is a policy that prohibits officers from shooting at parked or moving vehicles except if their life or someone else's life is in immediate danger. I just don't think it was necessary to do all that, but James was arrested and charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault.
He didn't even knock on it. He just opened it. And look what that led to, man. It just couldn't follow simple directions, well. If his life or somebody else's life was in danger, I don't think nobody's life was in danger right there. Don't make sense.
3 ways to survive a skinwalker. Number 1, don't ever whistle in the woods. No matter if it's daytime or nighttime, that's a calling signal. meaning that you're letting the Skinwalker know exactly where you are. Number 2, pray as hard to whatever you believe in as possible. Skinwalkers are demonic creatures, being so that they were transformed this way because they are cannibals, and have killed before. Number 3, white ash tree rubbed bullets may be one of the only other ways to stop a Skinwalker in its tracks. Of course, most people don't have those laying around, so if you're in an area where you think you may or may not be able to run into one, you may want to pack those just in case. Don't forget to like and follow for another episode.
White tree bullets, okay. More about the Skinwalker lore.
Unalived his parents and was found not guilty. On September 8th of 2024, 17-year-old Colin Griffin called 911 to tell them that he had gotten into an argument with his mother Catherine at his grandmother's house. He claimed that after the argument, his mother fell onto a knife. According to him, his mother was still alive and bleeding from the neck. As Colin was waiting outside for the officers, he was covered in blood. Officers described his demeanor as cool, calm, and collected, which was odd for someone who had just saw their mom fall onto a knife. Once officers went into the home, they found a 12-inch knife with a bloodied 8-inch blade. Witnesses told police that they saw Colin dragging his mom by her hair into the mobile home where she died. Catherine had an autopsy done and revealed that her injuries were non-accidental. Police arrested Colin, and he had actually violated a no-contact order in place against his mother. This was put into place because in November of 2023, Colin and his mother got into an argument which led her to take away his gaming privileges, and he got so angry that he threw her to the floor and stomped on her. Colin had claimed he struck his mother in self-defense, but his grandmother was witnessing the whole thing, and she stated that the attack was unprovoked. In March of 2024, there was another incident between Colin and his mother, which resulted in him going to a mental health facility. On February 5th of this year, the court found Colin not guilty, and his public defender argued that his mother, Catherine, was probably suicidal and she was the one who forced Colin to stab her. Colin not only did this to his mother, but he also did it to his father as well. Colin had lived with his father, Charles, in Lincoln County, Oklahoma until 2023. On February 14th of 2023, Colin had called 911 and told the dispatcher that he had fatally shot his father after his father had pulled out a knife on him and threatened him with it. Police had arrested Colin, but later dismissed the case, stating that it was due to self-defense. So Colin has unalived both of his parents and has been found not guilty, so what do you think about the case?
One of the most
How did he beat the case
mysterious and cursed
twice?
places in Arizona is the Superstition Mountains. The Superstition Mountains, located east of Phoenix, are steeped in legend, particularly surrounding a hidden gold mine that has supposedly cursed those who look for it. The story goes that a German prospector, James Waltz, discovered an incredibly rich gold vein in the 1800s. However, he died without revealing its location, and since then, many treasure hunters have vanished or met mysterious deaths while searching for it. Numerous treasure hunters and hikers have gone missing in the mountains, and some have even been found dead under mysterious circumstances. Many bodies are discovered with no signs of struggle, leading to theories about supernatural forces or hidden dangers in the area. Many visitors report glowing orbs, shadow figures, and eerie whispers echoing through the canyons at night. Some claim to have seen ghostly Spanish soldiers or Native American spirits guarding the area at night. The Apache Indians believed that the mountains are home to the thunder god, and some say there's a hidden entrance to the underworld deep within the caves. Even modern treasure hunters have reported freak accidents, strange disappearances, and a feeling of being watched while searching for the lost Dutchman's gold. Whether it's a real curse, dangerous terrain, or something supernatural, the Superstition Mountains remain one of Arizona's most mysterious and feared locations.
People who
Treasure
have
out there?
regret. When this guy went to release the fish that he had just caught back into the water, he forgot which hand was which. The Wisconsin Lottery Organization did an undercover investigation. They brought a winning lottery ticket that won $1 million into the store to see if the worker would be honest, and here's what she said. After she tried to claim the money for herself, but she got caught. This TV channel called QVC showcases a bunch of different products, and they try to be entertaining while they're doing it. But if you want them to try your product on the show, it costs $6,000 per minute. This company wanted their vacuum to be showcased, and let's just say they regretted spending the money because it didn't really work.
Imagine spending all that money and your product don't work. Money down the drain, bro. You need to be budgeting their money way better. 6 bands, you know what I can do with that? We penny pinching over here.
Life or a disaster movie, this would be the opening scene. This is not supposed to happen. This is a black devil. Well, not really. That's a family name. Specifically, the humpback anglerfish, or as most people know, Nemo's paralysis demon. You already know the deal with them. Bioluminescent bacteria means Satan's abandoned goldfish has a built-in fishing lure, and any fish that wants to see the light gets sent to it permanently. Also, if you're curious about the dental work, basically where they live is a forever bird box challenge. So when they do catch a body, having teeth like hypodermic needles means it takes one mistake for them to stamp your fate. Plot armor's the only reason Marlin's son ain't in the system. And living in the world of Ray Charles means they're the opposite of picky. They'll swallow things physically bigger than they are. One devil weighing 8 grams was caught with a stomach holding about 12 grams worth of past tense eel. Also, every anglerfish like this is a female. You know where this is going, because the males are 40 times smaller, and the parasite's only purpose is to find a female, bite her, and then literally fuse into her skin. I'm talking about even his blood vessels eventually intersect with hers. And that's just the rest of his life. Bro really becomes a full-time herpy. Or I guess a hempy. It's so twisted. Science really thought this living testicle was an entirely different species. Whole time it was Steven Universe on steroids. Now the real question is, why did Hell release one of his drafts unprompted? Remember, their entire game plan revolves around them living in pitch darkness. We've never recorded one in broad daylight like this. Something wrong with Buddy. They have no business perceiving any light that isn't theirs. That is a devil about to die. And if you believe in science, then oh my, the script writers are going wild in 2025.
Back in the saddle of talking about terrifying submechanophobia things. Just wait, stay with me this entire video because it gets crazier as it goes. This is the Aquadom that's in Berlin, and it was in the Radisson Hotel. And yes, that inside of there, that huge column inside of there, that's an elevator. Could you imagine getting in that elevator and getting stuck? This gigantic tank holds over 1 million liters of water and also 1,500 different tropical fish and some dudes scuba diving in around you when you're in the elevator. This sounds like a nightmare, getting stuck in that elevator. I already don't like elevators, but could you imagine being inside this gigantic tank? But also, wait for it, it's shattered randomly. Just randomly one day it decided to just completely break and shatter. All of the 1,500 fish were just scattered everywhere. People were like injured with some glass flying. Luckily, no one lost their lives, but like this, oh my God, could you imagine being in that elevator when it exploded? That sounds like a nightmare. And like here, you can kind of see more structurally what exactly was inside of it. You can better see the elevator, and this was left abandoned for a little bit. It's cleared up now. Apparently the Radisson made it into like a garden, but this was just chilling in there, just completely the hotel abandoned for months. Like, look at this. This is like right after it happened. This is, God. So we have abandoned places, we have submechanophobia, and we have claustrophobia if you want to include the elevator. So, yeah, no. Did you get to see this when it was up and running? How was it? If not, would you have ever gone on this? Because you could not pay me. You could not. I would be going up the stairs. I don't care if I was on the 50th floor.
Why is this country called Iraq? The region of Mesopotamia has been referred to as Iraq since at least the 7th century AD, during the early Islamic period. The etymology of the name is debated amongst historians, with multiple theories explaining its meaning and roots. Now, one theory suggests that Iraq comes from the Sumerian city of Uruk. Now, Uruk was one of the first great cities of Mesopotamia, and its name may have influenced later Arabic and Persian terms for the region. Now, if you're familiar with the story of Gilgamesh, then you would know that this was the city that Gilgamesh had apparently ruled over. Another theory connects the name to the Middle Persian word Iraq, I hope I said that right, meaning lowlands, which describes Mesopotamia's geography in contrast to the Iranian plateau. Now, the third theory, which if I recall correctly is actually a folk etymology, suggests that Iraq originates from an Arabic root meaning well-watered, referring to the fertile land between the Tigris River and the Euphrates River. During the early Islamic period, Iraq was commonly used to describe the southern and central regions of Mesopotamia. Now, the term distinguished this area from Al-Jazira, the northern region between the two rivers. Now, in modern history, Iraq became an official state in 1921 under British rule, and the name was retained when the country gained full independence in 1932. Isn't that interesting?
Learn about the origins of Iraq. That's definitely interesting. Those theories. We're going to have to dive deep into those. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support. Make sure you guys to comment down below. Hit that thumbs up button, man. Also hit that post notification bell, so always get notified when I upload my next videos. You guys are going to catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.